A silver streak tore through the fabric of space itself, leaving reality fractured in its wake. The anomaly wasn't hyperspace. It was something else, something that made the Force itself recoil like a living thing confronted with its opposite. Across Coruscant, Jedi Masters gasped simultaneously, clutching their chests as if the galaxy had just taken a breath backwards. In the Jedi Temple's meditation chambers, holocrons flickered. Ancient Sith artifacts buried deep in the Senate vaults cracked. And in his Chancellor's office, Palpatine's yellow eyes snapped open with genuine surprise. For the first time in decades, Norrin Radd emerged from the dimensional Tor 15,000 kilometers above Coruscant's northern hemisphere, his silver form gleaming against the planet's eternal city lights. The surfboard beneath his feet, a construct of cosmic energy shaped by Galactus himself, hummed with power that had crossed galaxies and realities. He steadied himself, cosmic awareness expanding outward like a wave, and immediately knew something was profoundly wrong. This wasn't the Andromeda sector he'd been scouting. This wasn't even his universe. The energy patterns were different, not the familiar quantum frequencies of his reality, but something ancient and mystical woven through every atom of space. It felt alive, conscious, watching. The Silver Surfer had traversed dimensions before during his servitude to Galactus, but this place resonated with a power that reminded him uncomfortably of the abstract entities he'd encountered beyond the physical plane. Below him, the city planet stretched to every horizon, a monument to civilization that rivaled anything he'd witnessed. Billions of life signs registered in his cosmic awareness. Humans, near humans, and species his mind struggled to categorize. But underneath the metropolitan grandeur, he sensed something darker: suffering, manipulation, and the approaching shadow of catastrophic war, a war that had already begun. Unknown vessel, this is Coruscant Defense Command. A voice crackled through his heightened senses, translated automatically by his cosmic perception. You have entered restricted space. Power down your propulsion and prepare for inspection. The surfer turned his head skyward. A squadron of wedge-shaped starfighters, primitive by his standards but elegantly designed, approached in attack formation. Their weapons were already hot, energy signatures building. Behind them, larger capital ships moved into position, their hulls bristling with turbo-laser batteries. He made no move to flee or fight. Instead, he simply waited, hands at his sides, allowing them to witness what he was. The lead pilot's voice came through again, now tinged with confusion and fear. Command, I'm getting readings that don't make sense. The target's energy output is off the scale. It's reading higher than a Providence-class dreadnought's main reactor. Negative, Gold Leader. Recalibrate your sensors. Sir, sensors are fine. This thing is just... It's like trying to scan a star. Before the exchange could continue, the surfer felt it. A different kind of attention, focused and deliberate. Consciousness touched his mind, not invasive but inquiring, and he recognized the signature of telepathic contact. But this wasn't mutation-born telepathy like Professor Xavier's or cosmic awareness like his own. This was something else, something the beings of this galaxy called the Force. Peace, a calm voice echoed in his thoughts. We mean you no harm, traveler. I am Mace Windu of the Jedi Order. If you can understand me, please do not resist. We wish only to speak. The surfer's metallic features remained impassive, but something in that telepathic touch stirred memories of Zenla. of philosophers and peacekeepers who'd tried to negotiate with Galactus before Norrin Radd had sacrificed everything to save his world. These Jedi, he pulled the term from Windu's surface thoughts, believed themselves guardians of peace. They had no idea what true cosmic power looked like, what hunger could do to galaxies. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The surfer raised one hand and with the slightest gesture, channeled cosmic energy into a visible spectrum these people could perceive. Silver light erupted around him, not threatening but undeniably powerful, forming glyphs and symbols that his cosmic awareness translated into their language. I am Norrin Radd. I serve Galactus, devourer of worlds. I mean your people no harm, but I must understand where I am. On the surface, in the Jedi Temple's council chamber, 12 of the galaxy's most powerful force wielders stood in unprecedented unity, all of them staring upward as if they could see through the temple's ceiling to the being hanging in space above their world. Something beyond the Force, Master Yoda whispered, his ancient voice carrying undeniable concern. Yet not dark side, not light side, something other. Mace Windu's jaw tightened. He calls himself a herald of a devourer of worlds. Then we must assume hostile intent, Ki-Adi-Mundi said firmly. If his master devours worlds, sense no deception, I do, Yoda interrupted, his ears lowering. Truth he speaks, but truth more dangerous than lies, sometimes it is. In the Republic Executive Building, Chancellor Palpatine stood at his window, hands clasped behind his back, feeling the disturbance through the dark side. His plans, so carefully orchestrated across decades, suddenly faced an unexpected variable. This silver being registered as neither Jedi nor Sith, neither servant of the light nor the dark. It was as if a piece from a completely different game had been dropped onto his Dejarik board. Dangerous, but perhaps useful. Across the galaxy, on the Separatist flagship Invisible Hand, Count Dooku felt the same disturbance. His master would already be aware, already calculating, but Dooku's own ambitions stirred. Power like this, if harnessed, if turned to the Separatist cause. The Clone Wars had just encountered something neither side had prepared for. High above them all, the Silver Surfer sensed the attention of multiple factions, felt the undercurrents of manipulation and hidden agendas flowing through this galaxy like poison in water. His cosmic awareness showed him glimpses, clone soldiers bred for war, a political system riddled with corruption, and somewhere in the shadows, a darkness that rivaled some of the cosmic entities he'd encountered. This galaxy was already dying. The question was whether Norrin Radd had arrived to witness its death or prevent it. Or worse, whether Galactus would follow him through the dimensional breach and ensure its destruction. The surfer descended slowly toward the planet's surface, his board cutting through atmosphere without friction, silver skin reflecting the lights of 1 trillion windows. The starfighters maintained their distance, weapons trained but not firing. Below, he sensed the Jedi gathering, their mystical energy coalescing in the temple, like a sun preparing to shine. He would speak with these force wielders. He would learn what had brought him to this reality, and he would discover if this galaxy's conflicts were petty territorial disputes or something that required the attention of a cosmic herald. The power cosmic thrummed through his being, ready for whatever came next. The Jedi Temple's landing platform had been cleared within minutes. clone troopers forming a perimeter with rifles raised, while Jedi Knights stood in a secondary ring, lightsabers unignited, but hands hovering near their hilts. In the center of this defensive formation stood the Jedi Council's most senior members, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Master Yoda himself, leaning on his Geimer stick with deceptive frailty. The Silver Surfer descended through Coruscant's perpetual traffic lanes like a falling star, vehicles swerving to avoid him as automated systems screamed warnings. He paid them no mind. His cosmic awareness had already calculated every trajectory, every potential collision point, and adjusted his descent to harm nothing. Within seconds, he touched down on the platform, his board dissolving into pure energy that flowed back into his silver form. For a moment, nobody moved. The Jedi had faced Sith Lords, dark side aberrations, and Force entities that defied conventional understanding, but standing before this being felt different. He registered in the Force as a void wrapped around a star, simultaneously absent and overwhelming, as if reality itself bent around his presence without actually touching him. "Welcome to Coruscant," Mace Windu said, his deep voice steady despite the tension radiating from every clone trooper behind him. "I am Master Mace Windu. This is Master Yoda and Master Kenobi. We felt your arrival from across the planet. The Force itself reacted to your presence." The Surfer's chrome features were unreadable, his eyes glowing with inner light that seemed to contain entire galaxies. When he spoke, his voice carried harmonics that shouldn't have existed in atmosphere, the echo of cosmic forces translated into sound. "I am Norin Rad, Herald of Galactus. I did not intend to enter your space. A dimensional anomaly pulled me from my reality into yours." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled Jedi and soldiers. "This force you speak of, I feel it surrounding everything, conscious and reactive. In my universe, no such energy exists. You live in a galaxy bound by mysticism as much as physics." Obi-Wan stepped forward slightly, his diplomatic instincts engaging despite the unprecedented situation. "You said you serve a being called Galactus, a devourer of worlds. That's a rather concerning title for those of us who prefer our worlds intact." The Surfer's expression flickered, something that might have been regret or ancient weariness. "Galactus is a fundamental force of my universe. He maintains cosmic balance by consuming the life energy of planets. I scout worlds for him, searching for those suitable for his hunger. It is not a role I chose willingly, but one I accepted to save my own world from destruction." "Slavery," Mace Windu said flatly. "You're a slave to this entity. I am bound by the power cosmic, yes, but I retain my free will, my conscience. I seek uninhabited worlds when possible. I have fought my master when his actions threatened innocent life." The Surfer's hands began to glow with silver energy, not threatening but illustrative. "This power allows me to manipulate matter and energy at the molecular level, to traverse galaxies in moments, to survive the heart of stars. It also ensures my servitude." Yoda's ears twitched, his ancient eyes studying the Herald with an intensity that made even Master Windu uncomfortable. "Bound by power, yet fight against your binding you do. Familiar this struggle is. Light and dark, balance we seek, but your power, beyond the Force, it exists." "Your force is unique to this reality," the Surfer confirmed. "I sense it in every living thing, connecting all consciousness in a web of mystical energy, but it does not touch me. My power derives from Galactus himself, granted across dimensional barriers." We exist in parallel but separate paradigms. A new presence approached from behind the Jedi Masters. Anakin Skywalker strode onto the platform, his robes billowing, barely concealed urgency in his movements. He'd been in the mid-levels responding to a separatist sabotage attempt when the disturbance hit. Now his eyes locked onto the Silver Surfer with an intensity that bordered on obsession. "Anakin," Obi-Wan said warningly, "Master Windu is handling—" "That power," Anakin interrupted, moving closer to the Surfer despite the clone troopers raising their weapons. "I can feel it. It's like nothing I've ever encountered, not Jedi, not Sith, not even like Mother Talzin's magics. It's pure, absolute." His mechanical hand clenched. Could it break bonds? Could it rewrite reality itself? The Surfer's glowing eyes fixed on Anakin, and through his cosmic awareness, he perceived things that made him deeply uneasy. This young Jedi blazed in the mystical energy of this galaxy like a supernova contained in flesh, raw potential wrapped in fear, anger, and desperate love. The Surfer had seen cosmic entities with less concentrated power, but more troubling was the shadow he sensed hovering around Anakin's future, a darkness waiting to consume him. "The power cosmic can indeed manipulate reality," the Surfer answered carefully. "I have restructured matter, transmuted elements, and bent the laws of physics. But some bonds cannot be broken by power alone. Some are forged in choices in the soul. I know this too well." "Enough philosophy," Mace Windu cut in, his hand moving to his lightsaber hilt, not threatening but ready. "Norin Rad, your presence has created a crisis. Republic intelligence detected your energy signature. So did the Separatists. Both sides now know something unprecedented has entered this system. We're already receiving reports of Separatist fleet movements toward Coruscant space. They'll want to capture you, study you, weaponize that power." "As would your Republic, I suspect," the Surfer replied without accusation, simply stating observed fact. Obi-Wan sighed. "He's not wrong, Mace. The Senate Military Oversight Committee will demand access to him within hours. They'll want to know if he can be used against the Separatists." "Use me?" The Surfer's voice carried a note of something ancient and implacable. "I have witnessed the birth and death of galaxies. I have stood before cosmic entities that reshape reality with thoughts. Your war, this conflict between Republic and Separatists, I have sensed its nature through the consciousness of this city. It is political theater masking something far darker." Yoda's ears shot up. "See through the war you do? What sense you herald?" The Surfer raised one hand, and holographic images formed in silver light above his palm. Images pulled directly from his cosmic awareness. The clone troopers gasped as they saw representations of themselves. Thousands of identical soldiers stretching across multiple worlds. Then the image shifted to show a shadowy figure pulling strings, orchestrating both sides of the conflict. "Someone manipulates your war from the shadows," the Surfer said. "I cannot perceive details. This force of yours obscures my awareness in strange ways. But the pattern is clear. This conflict serves a hidden purpose. Both your Republic and these Separatists dance to choreography neither side fully understands." The temperature on the landing platform seemed to drop 10 degrees. Mace Windu and Obi-Wan exchanged glances laden with unspoken communication. They'd suspected Sith involvement for years, had sensed the dark side's influence growing in the Senate, but having an outsider confirm their fears with cosmic awareness made it undeniably real. "You possess dangerous knowledge, Norin Rad," Mace Windu said carefully. Knowledge that could make you a target for forces you don't yet understand. I have been hunted by cosmic entities, Jedi, by beings who consume stars for sustenance and reshape galaxies on whims. The surfer's chrome form seemed to shimmer, power rippling beneath his surface. I do not fear your politicians or your hidden manipulators. But I did not come here to interfere in your affairs. I wish only to understand this universe and find a way to return to my own. Understanding requires time, Obi-Wan said diplomatically, and time requires safety. The Jedi Order can offer you sanctuary while you search for answers. In exchange, perhaps you could help us understand the nature of your power and what threat your master Galactus might pose if he follows you here. Galactus cannot sense me across dimensional barriers, the surfer replied. But the rift that brought me here was unstable. If it reopens, if my master detects it. He paused, and genuine fear flickered across his metallic features. This galaxy would not survive his hunger. Your force would be consumed as readily as your matter. Galactus is entropy given consciousness, the necessary destroyer that makes room for new creation. Anakin moved closer, ignoring Obi-Wan's restraining hand. Then we need to make sure that Rift stays closed. And if it doesn't, we need power capable of fighting this Galactus. His eyes burned with desperate intensity. Your power. Anakin, step back, Mace Windu commanded, his voice carrying the weight of the entire Jedi Council. This is not... Alarm screamed across the temple complex. Clone Commander Cody's voice crackled over the comms. Masters, we have multiple separatist warships dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Count Dooku's flagship Invisible Hand is leading them. They're broadcasting a demand for the cosmic entity to be surrendered to separatist custody for study. The surfer's eyes blazed brighter through his cosmic awareness. He perceived the approaching fleet, dozens of warships, thousands of droid fighters, weapons capable of glassing continents, and at the center, a presence that resonated with the dark power he'd sensed throughout this galaxy. It begins, he said quietly. Your war has found a new prize to fight over. Mace Windu ignited his purple lightsaber, the blade humming to life. Then we need to make a choice right now, Herald. Are you with the Republic, or do we treat you as a neutral party to be protected? The surfer looked at each of them in turn. The stern Jedi Master, the diplomatic Kenobi, the ancient and wise Yoda, and the burning intensity of Anakin Skywalker. He sensed their nobility, their genuine desire to protect the innocent, but also their flaws, their blind spots, the darkness growing in their institution. I am no one's weapon, he said finally, but I will not allow myself to be claimed by those who would use my power for conquest. If your separatists come, I will defend myself. If your Republic tries to imprison me, I will leave. I am bound to Galactus, but I will accept no other master. Yoda struck his stick against the platform, the sound sharp and decisive. Fair enough, that is. Protect you we shall. Learn from you we hope to. But control you. His ancient eyes gleamed with understanding. Control cosmic power no one can. Only coexist with it or be destroyed by it. Above them, the sky began to darken as separatist warships entered high orbit, their weapons charging. Across Coruscant, Republic forces scrambled to defensive positions, and in his office, Palpatine smiled, seeing opportunity in chaos. The Silver Surfer called his board back into existence, cosmic energy swirling beneath his feet. Then let us see if this galaxy can handle the presence of a herald. But know this, Jedi, My power is nothing compared to my master's. Pray that Galactus never finds this reality." He rose into the air, silver against the city lights, ready to face whatever came next. The Clone Wars had just become infinitely more complicated. The Silver Surfer hung suspended in the space between Coruscant's upper atmosphere and the advancing Separatist fleet, a solitary chrome figure against the backdrop of stars and distant warships. His cosmic awareness expanded outward, cataloging every vessel, every weapon system, every droid consciousness networked across the Armada. 37 capital ships, over 400 droid fighters, and enough firepower to reduce a continent to ash. Primitive by the standards of his universe, but deadly nonetheless. Through the quantum foam of space-time, he sensed the Jedi scrambling below, Republic star destroyers moving into defensive positions, clone fighter squadrons launching from orbital platforms, and the Jedi Council making frantic communications with Senate leadership. The political machine of this galaxy ground into motion with agonizing slowness, while military forces prepared for battle. But the Surfer's primary attention focused on the flagship at the center of the Separatist formation, the Invisible Hand, a Providence-class dreadnought whose dark hull bristled with turbo-laser batteries. Within that ship, a consciousness touched by the same dark power that corrupted this galaxy's mystical force reached out toward him with calculated interest. Count Dooku stood on the bridge of his flagship, hands clasped behind his back, his aged features composed despite the unprecedented situation. General Grievous loomed beside him, the cyborg general's mechanical chassis clicking with anticipation of combat. Holographic displays showed the Republic fleet forming up around Coruscant. And at the center of everything, the silver being who had created this crisis. "Magnificent," Dooku breathed, feeling the void in the Force where the Herald existed. Power that exists completely outside the Force's influence. Imagine what the Separatist Alliance could accomplish with such a being under our control. Control? Grievous's metallic voice grated with skepticism. Our sensors report energy readings equivalent to 100 reactor cores. This is not some Force wielder to be manipulated with Sith tricks, Count. This is a weapon that thinks for itself. Which is why we must be precise in our approach. Dooku activated the ship's long-range communications. Open a channel to the entity. Let me speak with it directly. The Surfer felt the transmission reach him, electromagnetic waves carrying audio and holographic data. His cosmic awareness translated the language instantly, even though it was different from what the Jedi had spoken. He allowed the communication through. Dooku's holographic image materialized in the space before the Surfer, the Sith Lord's aristocratic features arranged in an expression of diplomatic civility. "Greetings, Norin Rad. I am Count Dooku of Sereno, leader of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. I witnessed your arrival through the Force and have come personally to extend an offer of alliance." "Alliance," the Surfer repeated, his voice carrying through subspace frequencies. "Your fleet arrives with weapons charged and fighters deployed. That is not how my universe defines alliance." Dooku's smile didn't falter. A precaution, nothing more. The Republic has a tendency to claim anything of value that enters their space. I merely ensured you would have a choice in whom you speak with. You are not of this galaxy. You owe neither the Republic nor the Confederacy any loyalty, but one of us could help you achieve whatever goals brought you here. The Surfer perceived the manipulation in Dooku's words. the calculated delivery designed to appeal to a presumed desire for freedom. This being was skilled at verbal maneuvering, at finding vulnerabilities in others' reasoning. He reminded the surfer uncomfortably of some of the cosmic entities who trafficked in souls and bargains. "My goal is to return to my own universe," the surfer replied. "I have no interest in your war." "But the war has taken interest in you," Dooku countered smoothly. "The Republic will study you, imprison you, attempt to weaponize your power for their corrupt Senate's benefit. The Jedi speak of peace while serving politicians who grow fat on the suffering of Outer Rim worlds. The Confederacy offers freedom from their hypocrisy. Join us, and I guarantee your autonomy, while we search for a way to return you home." Below, on Coruscant's surface, Mace Windu listened to the intercepted transmission with growing tension. "He's good. Dooku always knows exactly what to say to make tyranny sound like liberation." "The surfer will see through it," Obi-Wan said, though he didn't sound entirely convinced. "He's clearly intelligent enough to recognize manipulation." Anakin paced the Jedi Temple's command center, his frustration palpable. "We're just letting Dooku talk to him? We should be up there, making our case, showing him that the Republic..." "That the Republic what?" Mace Windu interrupted sharply. "That we're not corrupt. That the Senate doesn't use the Jedi as soldiers. Dooku may be a Sith, but his accusations aren't entirely false. That's what makes him dangerous." In orbit, the surfer extended his cosmic awareness deeper into the invisible hand, perceiving the truth beneath Dooku's civilized veneer. The Count's consciousness was saturated with dark power, anger, ambition, and something else. A connection to another, more powerful consciousness lurking somewhere in the shadows of this galaxy. This being wasn't an independent leader. He was a servant, just as the surfer served Galactus, but with far less reluctance. "You offer freedom while serving a master hidden in shadows," the surfer said, his glowing eyes boring through the holographic projection as if seeing Dooku's soul. "I recognize the pattern. You orchestrate this war on someone else's orders. Your Confederacy is as much a puppet as the Republic you condemn." Dooku's expression flickered, a microsecond of surprise before his diplomatic mask reasserted itself. "You perceive much, Herald. More than the Jedi, it seems. Yes, I serve a greater vision. But that vision seeks to break the cycle of corruption that has strangled this galaxy for 1,000 years. Sometimes destruction is necessary for true rebirth." "I know that philosophy well," the surfer replied, and his voice carried the weight of cosmic truth. "Galactus embodies it, necessary destruction to maintain universal balance. But there is a difference between cosmic necessity and political ambition wearing necessity as a mask. You do not serve balance, Count Dooku. You serve power." The hologram shimmered as Dooku's composure cracked slightly. Behind him, General Grievous's mechanical laugh echoed. "He sees through your pretty words, Count. Perhaps we should proceed to more direct methods." Dooku raised a hand, silencing the cyborg general. His eyes, when they met the surfer's gaze again, held naked calculation stripped of diplomatic pretense. "Very well, since you perceive the truth so clearly, let me be direct. The power you wield could end this war in days. Imagine, no more clones dying by the millions, no more planets devastated by battle, no more innocent systems caught between warring ideologies. With your cosmic abilities, we could force both sides to peace." "By choosing one side to dominate the other," the surfer observed. "That is not peace. That is conquest. Call it what you will. Dooku's hands spread in a gesture of pragmatic acceptance. But ask yourself this: is standing aside while millions die truly the moral choice? Your cosmic awareness must show you the suffering this war creates daily. The Jedi preach non-attachment while children starve on blockaded worlds. The Senate debates while clone soldiers, slaves bred for war, die by the thousands. If you possess the power to stop this nightmare, are you not morally obligated to use it? The argument struck deeper than Dooku could have known. The surfer had wrestled with this exact dilemma across countless worlds. He had the power to prevent suffering, to overthrow tyrants, to reshape civilizations, but he had also learned the terrible price of cosmic intervention. He had witnessed saved worlds descend into chaos when their natural development was disrupted. He had seen beings become dependent on external power rather than finding their own strength. And he had learned that choosing sides in others' wars often meant choosing wrong, no matter how clear the moral calculus appeared. "I perceive your war, Count," the surfer said finally. "I see the suffering it creates, but I also see that both sides believe themselves righteous. Both serve hidden masters, and both would use my power to tip the scales in their favor. I did not come to this galaxy to be your weapon or your savior. I came by accident, and I will leave the same way once I understand how." Dooku's expression hardened. "Then you choose to allow the suffering to continue. How noble." "I choose not to be used," the surfer corrected. "There is a difference." The Count's hologram flickered as he transmitted a coded signal. Across the Separatist fleet, weapon systems activated. The surfer felt the energy signatures building. Turbo lasers, ion cannons, and something else. Something that resonated with dark, mystical energy being channeled through technological systems. "I had hoped for cooperation," Dooku said, his voice cooling to aristocratic disdain. "But the Confederacy cannot allow such power to remain in Republic hands. You will come aboard my flagship, willingly or otherwise. General Grievous, deploy the capture web. Use the Sith-forged restraints." The cyborg general's mechanical laugh echoed through the communication. "Finally, prepare the soul snare protocol." The hologram vanished. Simultaneously, the Separatist fleet launched a coordinated assault, not aimed at destroying the surfer, but at capturing him. Specialized missiles streaked through space, trailing energy nets, woven with what the surfer's cosmic awareness identified as this galaxy's dark, mystical force. Tractor beams, enhanced with the same dark energy, reached out to lock onto his position. Below, Republic forces scrambled to respond. Star destroyers opened fire on the Separatist fleet, turbo lasers carving brilliant lines through the darkness. Clone fighters engaged droid fighters in a deadly ballet. And from the Jedi Temple, several Jedi starfighters launched carrying Masters Windu, Kenobi, and Skywalker toward the orbital battle. But the surfer's attention remained fixed on the approaching capture systems. The dark energy woven through them was potent. He felt it trying to latch onto his consciousness, to bind his will the way Galactus's power bound him to his role as herald. These Sith, whatever they were, had learned to imprison others using mystical chains. They had never tried to chain the power cosmic. The surfer raised both hands, and silver light exploded from his form like a supernova. The energy net struck his cosmic aura and simply unraveled. Molecules separated back into constituent atoms, then into energy, then dispersed into nothing. The tractor beams found no purchase on his matter-manipulating field, and when he reached out with his own power, he began dismantling the approaching missiles at the molecular level, reducing sophisticated technology to its base elements. "Impossible," General Grievous snarled from the bridge of the invisible hand. The soul snare restraints were forged by Sith sorcerers. Nothing escapes them. Dooku's eyes narrowed as he felt the Sith magic dissolving against the Herald's power. He doesn't channel the Force. The restraints have nothing to grip. He exists outside our paradigm entirely. The Surfer's voice resonated through space, carried on cosmic frequencies that every ship's communication system automatically translated. "I warned you, Count Dooku. I am the Herald of Galactus. I have withstood cosmic storms that would atomize your fleet. I have survived the weaponry of civilizations millions of years beyond yours. Your mystic chains are impressive by your galaxy's standards, but I am not of your galaxy." He gestured, and 3 separatist frigates simply stopped functioning. Their reactors powered down. Their weapon systems went dark. Their droid crews deactivated. The Surfer had manipulated the molecular structure of their power conduits, creating perfect insulators where conductors once existed. 30,000 battle droids shut down simultaneously, and 3 massive warships became dead metal drifting in space. He had not destroyed them. He had not killed anyone. He had simply demonstrated that their technology was playthings to his power. The Republic fleet halted their advance, clone commanders and Jedi alike staring in shock at the casual display of cosmic ability. The Separatist fleet hesitated, confusion spreading through their networked systems as they recalculated threat assessments that suddenly showed impossibly high probability of total defeat. And in the space between the 2 fleets, the Silver Surfer blazed like a star given form, untouched and untouchable, waiting to see which side would be foolish enough to attack again. "This is your galaxy's choice," he said, his voice reaching every ship, every soldier, every listener on both sides. "Escalate to violence, and I will disable both fleets without taking a single life. Stand down, and I will continue seeking my way home without interfering in your war. But understand this, I will not be used. Not by Republic, not by Confederacy, not by anyone." On the bridge of the invisible hand, Dooku made a calculation. His master would want this being studied, captured, weaponized. But the cost of forcing the issue now would be the entire fleet, and perhaps Dooku's own life. The Sith Lord was many things, but suicidal was not among them. "All ships hold position," he commanded. "Maintain defensive posture only." In the Jedi starfighter racing toward the battle, Anakin Skywalker gripped his controls with white knuckles, watching the Silver Surfer hang like a silver god between 2 armies, bending both to his will without striking a single violent blow. This was the kind of power that could save everyone Anakin loved. This was the kind of power that could prevent all suffering. This was the kind of power Anakin Skywalker desperately needed to understand. The standoff in Coruscant's orbital space held for precisely 17 seconds before the Separatist fleet began a calculated withdrawal, their hulls angling away from the Republic defensive line. Count Dooku had issued the retreat order, but the Silver Surfer's cosmic awareness detected something else. Multiple encrypted transmissions bouncing between the invisible hand and a hidden relay station in the outer system. The Count was reporting to someone, and that someone was very interested in what had just occurred. The Surfer watched the Separatist vessels slip back into hyperspace one by one, their departure coordinates scattered across a dozen different vectors to prevent tracking. Professional, disciplined, and utterly unlike a defeated force fleeing in panic. This was a tactical withdrawal by an enemy who had gathered valuable intelligence and was now repositioning for a different approach. 3 Jedi starfighters approached his position, their sleek Delta-7 interceptors cutting elegant arcs through the debris field left by the brief engagement. The Surfer recognized the Force signatures within: Mace Windu's stern discipline, Obi-Wan Kenobi's diplomatic wisdom, and Anakin Skywalker's blazing chaotic potential. The young Jedi's starfighter came closest, almost dangerously so, as if Anakin needed to physically approach the cosmic power that had just neutralized an entire fleet without violence. "Impressive display, Herald Rad," Mace Windu's voice came through on an open channel. "You avoided bloodshed while making your point crystal clear. The Jedi Council requests that you return to the temple so we can discuss what happens next." "Request, not demand," Obi-Wan added diplomatically, "though I imagine half the Republic Senate is currently demanding your immediate arrest or conscription. Politics moves almost as fast as your power, it seems." The Surfer regarded the 3 starfighters, his cosmic awareness perceiving the clone pilots in accompanying fighters forming a loose escort pattern, protective but not threatening. Yet, he sensed the tension throughout the Republic forces, the uncertainty about whether this silver being was ally, neutral party, or threat waiting to manifest. "I will return to your temple," the Surfer agreed, "but understand that I submit to no authority in this galaxy. I speak with your council as equals, not as subject to sovereign." "Understood," Mace Windu replied, though his Force presence carried reservations about that exact statement. "Follow us down." The descent through Coruscant's atmosphere provided the Surfer with his first real opportunity to study the city planet from ground level. His cosmic awareness had already mapped the entire world from orbit, but experiencing it directly revealed details that pure data couldn't capture. This wasn't a natural metropolis that had grown organically. This was calculated urban sprawl taken to its logical extreme, a monument to centralized power and bureaucratic efficiency that had paved over every trace of the planet's original ecosystem. It reminded him uncomfortably of Zenla, his homeworld, which had also chosen technological advancement over natural balance. That choice had made his people vulnerable when Galactus came. They'd had no warriors, no defenses, only scientists and philosophers who couldn't comprehend a threat that existed beyond reason and negotiation. Norrin Rad had saved them by surrendering himself to become Galactus's herald. He wondered what these people would sacrifice when their own reckoning came. The Jedi Temple rose from Coruscant's landscape like a mountain of deliberate architecture, its 5 spires reaching toward the sky in a configuration that resonated with the mystical Force energy permeating this galaxy. The Surfer felt the building itself humming with accumulated power, centuries of Force users meditating, training, living, and dying within its walls had left an imprint on reality itself. They landed in a private hangar deep within the temple complex, away from public observation. Clone security remained at a discreet distance while the 3 Jedi Masters dismounted their starfighters and approached the Surfer, who descended from his board to stand on the durasteel floor. For a moment, they simply studied each other, 4 beings from vastly different origins, each carrying power that could shape civilizations. Now, forced into cautious alliance, by circumstances beyond anyone's control. You stopped their weapons without destroying them, Obi-Wan observed, his beard unable to hide a slight smile of appreciation. Molecular manipulation, I presume. You simply rewired their systems at the atomic level. Correct, the surfer confirmed. Destruction is easy. Control requires precision. I have served Galactus long enough to know the difference between necessary force and excessive violence. Anakin stepped forward, his intensity barely restrained. You shut down 3 frigates in seconds. No weapons fire, no explosions, just will made manifest through cosmic power. How? What's the upper limit of your abilities? Anakin, Obi-Wan cautioned, perhaps we should allow the Council to— I want to know, Anakin interrupted, his eyes locked on the surfer. If power like that exists, if it can be understood, learned, adapted, we could end this war. We could stop the suffering. The surfer heard the desperation beneath Anakin's words, felt the fear that drove the young Jedi's obsession with power. His cosmic awareness showed him fragments of Anakin's psyche, a mother left in slavery, a secret wife the Jedi didn't know about, and visions of loss that haunted this supposed chosen one like cosmic shadows. The power cosmic is granted by Galactus, not learned. The surfer explained carefully. It flows from his fundamental nature as a cosmic entity. In my universe, only his heralds carry this power. It cannot be taught, transferred, or stolen. It must be given, and the price of accepting it is eternal servitude to the devourer of worlds. But you're here, in our universe, Anakin pressed. Maybe the rules are different here. Maybe with the Force we could— Skywalker. Mace Windu's voice cracked like a whip. Control yourself. This is exactly the kind of thinking that leads to the dark side. Power for power's sake. Seeking shortcuts to abilities beyond natural reach. Anakin's jaw clenched, but he stepped back. His Force presence roiling with suppressed frustration. The surfer watched this exchange with growing concern. These Jedi spoke of balance and peace, but their most powerful member was clearly teetering on some internal precipice, and the others either didn't see it or didn't know how to help. Yoda emerged from a doorway at the far end of the hangar, his small form moving with surprising speed despite his cane. Several other council members followed, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, Shak Ti, and others whose names the surfer extracted from their surface thoughts. They formed a semicircle around him, their collective force presence creating a pressure that would have overwhelmed most beings. The surfer felt nothing. He existed outside their mystical paradigm entirely. "Speak plainly, we must," Yoda declared, his ancient eyes studying the herald with uncomfortable intensity. "Prevent your return to your universe. What does? Search for a dimensional portal, perhaps." "The rift that brought me here collapsed immediately," the surfer explained. "My cosmic awareness can perceive dimensional boundaries, but creating a stable passage between realities requires either Galactus's direct intervention or access to technology far beyond what I've observed in this galaxy. Your hyperspace travel is sophisticated, but it navigates known space within your universe. You haven't developed trans-dimensional capability." "Then you're trapped here," Ki-Adi-Mundi stated flatly. "With power that makes you a strategic asset, both sides will kill to possess." "I am not trapped," the surfer corrected, his voice carrying an edge of cosmic certainty. "I am delayed. I have traversed the barrier between realities before, though always with Galactus's power backing my passage. Given time and study, I will find a way to replicate the dimensional breach. either to return home or to signal my master. The temperature in the hangar seemed to drop at those final words. Signal your master, Mace Windu repeated carefully. Galactus, the devourer of worlds. You would bring that entity to our galaxy? I serve him, the surfer replied simply. My freedom ended the day I accepted his power to save my world. If I cannot return, I must eventually summon him. That is the nature of our bond. Shakti stepped forward, her Togruta Montrals detecting emotional harmonics that her Force senses confirmed. But you don't want to summon him. I sense reluctance, even fear. You know what would happen if this Galactus came here. The surfer's metallic features arranged themselves into something approaching sorrow. Galactus consumes entire planets, draining their life energy to sustain his cosmic function. Your force-rich galaxy would shine to his senses like a beacon. He would feast upon your worlds until nothing remained but barren rocks. I have witnessed this across 1,000 systems. I have guided him to uninhabited worlds when possible, but when hunger drives him, Galactus cares nothing for civilization, for art, for the countless lives that end with each feeding. Then why serve him at all? Anakin demanded, his anger finally breaking through Jedi restraint. If you know he's a monster, if you have the power to fight back, why remain his slave? Because Galactus is not a monster, the surfer answered with cosmic certainty. He is a fundamental force of my universe, as necessary as entropy, as inevitable as heat death. He destroys, yes, but his destruction maintains cosmic balance. Without him, my reality would collapse into chaos. He is the price existence pays for existence itself. Sounds like Sith philosophy to me, Mace Windu muttered. Necessary evil is still evil. Perhaps, the surfer acknowledged. But necessity is a concept that transcends morality when operating at cosmic scales. I do not ask you to approve of Galactus. I merely state the reality of my existence and the threat my presence poses to your galaxy. Yoda thumped his stick against the floor, drawing all attention. A choice before us we have. Help the Herald find his way home, thus protecting our galaxy from Galactus. Or try to bind him here, use his power for our war. The second path, to darkness it leads. The first path, uncertain it is. The Council must deliberate, Mace Windu declared. Herald Rad, we need time to discuss the implications of your presence and decide how the Jedi Order will proceed. Will you remain here voluntarily, or must we make other arrangements? The question hung in the air, loaded with unspoken threats and possibilities. The surfer's cosmic awareness perceived multiple scenarios playing out. Jedi attempting to restrain him with force techniques that would prove useless. Republic military moving to deploy experimental weapons, or simply being allowed to leave and becoming a fugitive, hunted by both sides of this galaxy's war. I will remain, he decided. I have questions about your force, about this galaxy's physical laws, and about the nature of dimensional boundaries in your reality. Your temple contains knowledge repositories, yes? Perhaps your accumulated wisdom includes information that could aid my return. The archives are extensive, Obi-Wan confirmed. Thousands of years of accumulated knowledge, though I'm not certain we have much on dimensional travel. That's more the realm of ancient Sith sorcery than Jedi wisdom. Then I may need to speak with these Sith, the surfer observed, noting how the entire group reacted to that statement with varying degrees of alarm. You fear them greatly, more than you fear my cosmic power. The Sith are corruption incarnate, Mace Windu explained grimly. They wield the dark side of the Force, anger, fear, hatred channeled into power. They nearly destroyed the Jedi Order and the Republic 1,000 years ago. We thought them extinct, but recent events suggest they've been manipulating galactic politics from the shadows for decades. Count Dooku, the surfer said, the one who offered me alliance. He carries this dark side energy, but he serves another, a master hidden from my perception by your Force's mystical properties. The Jedi Council members exchanged glances, laden with confirmation and dread. They'd suspected a hidden Sith Lord controlling events, but hearing an outside entity confirm it made the threat undeniably real. We've searched for the Sith Master for years, Obi-Wan admitted, but the dark side clouds everything. Even our most powerful Force users can't pierce the veil of deception surrounding whoever orchestrates this war. Then perhaps, the surfer suggested, you need someone who perceives reality outside the Force entirely. Your mystical energy may blind you to what cosmic awareness reveals plainly. Anakin's eyes lit up with dangerous hope. You could find the Sith Lord? You could end this war at its source? Possibly, the surfer replied cautiously, but understand, I do not fight your battles. I will share information if I discover it, but I will not become your weapon against the Sith or anyone else. My purpose is to return home, not to reshape your galaxy. Even if we're doomed without your intervention, Anakin challenged. Especially then, the surfer said, and his voice carried the weight of hard-earned cosmic wisdom. I have played savior to countless civilizations, Anakin Skywalker. I have used my power to prevent suffering, to overthrow tyrants, to force peace upon warring worlds, and I have learned that cosmic intervention rarely produces the outcomes the intervener intends. Civilizations must find their own strength, their own solutions. External power solves immediate crises, but creates dependency that ultimately weakens those it protects. So you'd let billions die for philosophy? Anakin's anger blazed bright enough that other Jedi moved to restrain him. I would let billions find their own way, the surfer corrected gently, as my people could not, because I saved them too easily. They never developed the strength to resist Galactus themselves. They relied on me, and when I could no longer protect them, they had nothing. I will not create that same dependency here. Yoda nodded slowly, his ears drooping with sad recognition. Wisdom this is, painful wisdom, but truth nonetheless. Solve our problems for us, the Herald cannot, but perhaps guide us toward solutions we have not seen, he might. I will share what I perceive, the surfer agreed. But the choices, the actions, the consequences, those belong to you. Mace Windu deactivated his lightsaber, the symbolic gesture indicating tentative acceptance. Very well. We'll assign you quarters in the temple and grant you access to the archives. Master Jocasta Nu will assist your research. But Harold Rad, understand that Republic intelligence, the Senate, and probably separatist spies are all now intensely interested in your presence. The Jedi Order can offer some protection, but we cannot shield you from every faction seeking to exploit your power. I require no protection, the surfer replied, but I appreciate the offer of cooperation. As the council dispersed to begin their deliberations, Anakin lingered, his eyes never leaving the Silver Surfer. The Cosmic Herald recognized that look. He'd seen it in the eyes of beings across 1,000 worlds. Desperation mixed with hope, fear mixed with ambition, and the dangerous belief that sufficient power could solve all problems. It was the look of someone standing at the edge of a precipice, unable to see the fall waiting below. The surfer would have to watch Anakin Skywalker carefully, because if this chosen one fell to darkness with access to cosmic power's secrets, this galaxy's suffering would pale beside what came after. The Jedi archives stretched across 3 massive levels within the temple's central spire, a cathedral of knowledge housing holocrons, data tablets, ancient manuscripts, and holographic records spanning millennia. Crystalline storage matrices glowed with soft blue light, while archival droids glided silently between towering shelves. The air itself seemed to hum with accumulated wisdom, and the Force presence here felt different from the rest of the temple. Contemplative rather than militant, scholarly rather than vigilant. Jocasta Nu, the archive's chief librarian, regarded the Silver Surfer with the particular skepticism of someone whose life's work involved cataloging the known galaxy and who now faced something entirely outside her taxonomies. She was elderly by human standards, but moved with the precision of someone who knew every centimeter of her domain. "I've maintained these archives for 43 years, she said crisply, leading the surfer past rows of holocrons. "We have records dating back 25,000 years, but dimensional travel." She shook her head. "That's not Jedi territory. The Force connects all living things within our reality, but crossing between realities violates natural law. It's dabbling in powers that should remain untouched." "Yet the rift that brought me here existed," the surfer observed, his chrome fingers brushing across a holocron that immediately activated, projecting star charts of regions he didn't recognize. "Something in your universe created a bridge to mine, intentionally or otherwise." Jocasta Nu frowned, her scholarly instincts overriding her discomfort. "There are legends. Ancient Sith sorcerers supposedly experimented with what they called void space, dimensions between dimensions. Most of those texts were destroyed during the Great Purge 1,000 years ago. What survived is locked in restricted sections even most Jedi Masters cannot access." "Then I will need access to those sections," the surfer stated simply. "Absolutely not. Those texts contain knowledge of the dark side that has corrupted everyone who studied them too deeply. The Council would never—" "Madame Nu," Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice interrupted as he entered the archives with his characteristic diplomatic timing. "The Council has discussed this. Given the Herald's unique circumstances and his existence outside the Force, we've decided to grant him restricted access. His cosmic awareness may provide natural protection against dark side corruption." The librarian's expression suggested she had strong opinions about that decision, but Jedi discipline held. "Very well, Master Kenobi, but I'm filing a formal objection with the Council. Opening forbidden knowledge to outsiders sets dangerous precedent." She led them deeper into the archives, past sections marked with warning holograms and energy barriers that recognized her biometric signature. They descended a spiral staircase into subsections that felt progressively colder, both literally and in terms of the Force presence. The surfer's cosmic awareness perceived layers of mystical shielding woven through the architecture, wards designed to contain corrupting energies. "Here," Jocasta Nu said, gesturing to a vault sealed with crystalline locks. "The Forbidden Collection. Sith holocrons, dark rituals, forbidden Force techniques, and yes, theoretical treatises on dimensional manipulation. Study what you must, but Herald Rad, understand that this knowledge has driven Jedi to madness. Whatever protection your cosmic nature provides, don't assume you're invulnerable to corruption. I have resisted the corrupting influence of cosmic entities that reshape reality with thoughts, the surfer replied. But I acknowledge your warning. The vault opened and the surfer entered a chamber lined with dark holocrons, pyramidal structures that pulsed with malevolent red energy, rather than the peaceful blue of Jedi knowledge repositories. Even his cosmic awareness registered these artifacts as dangerous, their mystical programming designed to seduce users toward darkness with every piece of information they provided. He approached the nearest holocron, and it activated automatically, projecting the spectral image of a long-dead Sith Lord whose eyes burned with yellow fire. "Ah," the specter hissed with ancient malevolence. "A new student comes seeking forbidden wisdom. What is your desire, aspirant? Power, immortality, the strength to bend reality itself to your will?" "Information," the surfer replied calmly. "I seek knowledge of dimensional barriers and the means to traverse them." The Sith specter laughed, a sound like breaking bones. Direct and without pretense, refreshing, the Jedi would dance around their desires, pretending noble purpose masks their hunger for power. But you are something else. Something not of the Force. The specter leaned forward, its incorporeal form studying the surfer with fascination. "Fascinating. You exist as a void wrapped in energy I cannot classify. What are you?" "I am the Herald of Galactus. Now answer my question. Do these holocrons contain information about dimensional travel?" "Oh, they contain much on that subject," the specter confirmed. "The ancient Sith explored many paths to power, including the manipulation of reality's fundamental structure. But such knowledge carries a price. The dark side demands payment for its secrets. Emotion, passion, surrender to anger and ambition. Can you pay that price, Void Walker?" The surfer's eyes blazed with cosmic light. "I am bound to a being who devours worlds to sustain universal balance. I have witnessed suffering across 1,000 systems. I carry guilt that would shatter most minds. Your dark side has nothing to offer me that I have not already experienced and rejected." The Sith specter recoiled slightly, as if slapped. Then it laughed again, this time with genuine respect. "Well spoken. Very well, Herald. I am Darth Vectivus, and in life I studied the boundaries of reality itself. Attend my teachings if your mind can withstand truths the Jedi hide." For the next several hours, the surfer absorbed information from multiple dark holocrons, each one attempting to seduce him toward the dark side with promises of power and freedom. He ignored their manipulations, extracting pure data, while his cosmic awareness filtered out the corrupting intent woven through every lesson. The ancient Sith had indeed explored dimensional barriers, viewing them as obstacles to unlimited power. They developed techniques to peer into adjacent realities, to draw energy from dimensional rifts, and theoretically to create portals between universes. But their methods relied entirely on the dark side of the Force, channeling anger, fear, and hatred to literally tear holes in reality's fabric. "The Force permeates all things in this reality," Darth Vectivus's holocron explained. "But at the boundaries where one reality meets another, the Force grows thin. These weak points can be exploited by one with sufficient power and will. The emotion fuels the working. Rage powerful enough to deny reality itself, to demand that barriers fall before absolute conviction." "Then these techniques are useless to me," the surfer observed. I do not channel your force, light, or dark." "Perhaps," the specter mused. "But consider, if force energy thins at dimensional boundaries and you exist outside the force entirely, you may have natural access to those boundaries that force users could only reach through extreme effort. Your cosmic power might achieve what required our greatest sorcerers working in concert." The surfer's cosmic awareness expanded, testing this theory. He pushed his perception outward, searching for the edges of this reality, the places where space-time met the void between universes. And he felt it, distant but present. Dimensional boundaries existed here, just as they did in his home universe, but they were indeed shrouded in layers of mystical force energy that made them difficult to perceive clearly. "I sense potential," he admitted, "but creating a stable portal requires more than mere perception. I need to understand the dimensional topology of this reality, the relationship between your space-time and others." "Then you need more than Sith knowledge," a new voice said from the vault entrance. The surfer turned to see Anakin Skywalker standing in the doorway, his presence bright with barely contained force energy. Obi-Wan had departed hours ago, trusting the surfer to study independently, but apparently Anakin had been waiting for privacy. "Master Skywalker," the surfer acknowledged, "you've been observing for some time. Your force signature is difficult to miss." Anakin entered the vault, his eyes locked on the active holocrons with a mixture of fascination and revulsion. "These are forbidden for a reason. The dark side corrupts everyone who studies it too deeply. Even thinking you're immune makes you vulnerable." "Yet you're here," the surfer observed, "seeking something you believe I can provide." The young Jedi's jaw clenched. "I need to understand your power, not to use it. I know you said that's impossible without serving Galactus, but to understand the principles. You manipulate matter and energy at will. You exist outside the Force's influence. You're not bound by the rules that limit Jedi and Sith alike." His mechanical hand clenched into a fist. Could cosmic power prevent death? Could it save someone if the Force showed their death in visions? So that was it. The surfer's cosmic awareness had perceived fragments of Anakin's nightmares, visions of someone dying, a woman he loved desperately, helplessly, while he stood by, unable to save her. The same desperation that had driven Norin Rad to accept Galactus's offer now drove this chosen one toward darkness. "The power cosmic can manipulate matter and energy," the surfer said carefully. "I could theoretically reconstruct damaged tissue, restart biological processes, even rebuild someone at the molecular level if I reach them quickly enough. But Anakin, understand, that power comes with chains. Galactus does not grant it freely. The price of cosmic power is eternal servitude to entropy itself." "But it could be done," Anakin pressed, taking a step closer. "Death isn't absolute for those with sufficient power. That's what the Sith promise, isn't it? That's why the dark side is so tempting, because it offers solutions the Jedi claim are impossible." "The Sith promise power through corruption," the surfer countered. "I've observed that pattern across multiple realities. Beings offer shortcuts to abilities that should require discipline and sacrifice, but the shortcuts always cost more than the straightforward path would have. Your dark side is the same. It offers quick power at the price of your fundamental self." "But you're not of the dark side, and you have power beyond anything Jedi or Sith can imagine," Anakin argued. "There has to be another way. a path that uses cosmic principles without serving your master or falling to darkness. The surfer considered how to respond to this young man teetering on a precipice, knowing that the wrong words could push him over the edge. He recognized Anakin's pain because he'd felt it himself, the helpless rage of watching others suffer while possessing power insufficient to save them. "There may be," the surfer said finally, "but not for you, not now. Anakin, I perceive your visions. I sense your fear for someone you love. That fear is natural, even noble. But seeking power to prevent a possible future is exactly how corruption begins. I saved my world by becoming Galactus's herald, and I've regretted that choice across 1,000 worlds. I wonder constantly if there was another way, a solution I was too afraid or too desperate to see. But your world survived," Anakin said intensely. "You saved them. That's what matters." "My world survived," the surfer agreed quietly, "but I doomed countless others. Every planet Galactus has consumed since I became his herald. Those deaths are on my conscience. I guide him to uninhabited worlds when possible, but hunger drives him, and I am not always strong enough to resist." The power to save one person, one world, became the power to destroy thousands. That is the true price of cosmic intervention. Anakin's Force presence roiled with conflicting emotions, recognition of truth warring with desperate need for different answers. "Then what should I do? Just accept that people I love will die. That's not the Jedi way. We're supposed to be guardians, protectors." "No," the surfer said firmly. "You fight to save them with the power and wisdom you already possess. You trust in your own strength and the strength of those who fight beside you. But you don't surrender yourself to external power in exchange for false security. That path leads only to greater suffering." "Easy for you to say," Anakin shot back. "You already have cosmic power. You're not the one watching helplessly while—" He cut himself off, aware he'd revealed too much. The surfer stepped closer, his metallic features softening with genuine compassion. "Anakin Skywalker, I was an astronomer on a peaceful world. I studied stars, not war. I had no combat training, no mystical abilities, nothing but curiosity and the love of my people. When Galactus came, I was the most helpless being imaginable, powerless to stop entropy incarnate. I made my choice from that helplessness, and it has defined my existence ever since. I understand your fear because I lived it." "Then help me," Anakin said, and his voice cracked with vulnerability rarely shown. "Not with power, but with knowledge. If you can perceive things the Force can't show, if your cosmic awareness sees what we miss, tell me if there's a way to prevent the deaths I've seen." "Please." The surfer extended his cosmic awareness toward Anakin's visions, perceiving the fragments of possible futures haunting the young Jedi. He saw a woman dying in childbirth, twins being born, and darkness consuming everything Anakin loved. But the surfer also saw something the visions didn't show, the causal chain leading to that outcome, the choices Anakin himself would make, driven by fear of that very future, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. "Your visions show possibility, not certainty," the surfer said carefully. "But Anakin, I perceive something crucial. The path to that dark future begins with choices made to prevent it. Seeking power to stop death is the first step toward causing the very suffering you fear." "That doesn't make sense," Anakin protested. "How can trying to save someone lead to their death?" "Because fear clouds judgment," the surfer explained. Because desperate beings make desperate choices. Because power sought for protection often becomes the weapon that destroys what you meant to protect. I cannot see all possible futures. My cosmic awareness operates in present reality, but I recognize the pattern. You stand at a crossroads, and the wrong choice leads to darkness that consumes everything you love. Before Anakin could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the Jedi Temple. Both beings felt the disturbance simultaneously. The Surfer through his cosmic awareness, Anakin through the Force. Something massive had just entered Coruscant's space, and it registered as neither Republic nor Separatist. Obi-Wan's voice crackled over the Temple's communication systems. All Jedi to stations. Unknown vessels emerging from hyperspace. Energy signatures don't match any known fleet. They're broadcasting a message demanding the Silver Surfer's immediate surrender. The Surfer's eyes blazed bright with cosmic light as his awareness reached into orbit. What he perceived made even his vast experience pause with concern. Dozens of ships, unlike anything in this galaxy's technological paradigm, had arrived, their hulls inscribed with Sith runes glowing with dark, mystical energy, and at the center of the fleet, a massive dreadnought broadcasting power that resonated with the dark side on a scale he hadn't yet encountered in this reality. Someone had called in reinforcements, and they'd brought weapons specifically designed to bind beings of cosmic power. "We need to move," the Surfer said, his board materializing beneath his feet. Now. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, blue blade humming to life. "What's out there?" "Someone who has prepared specifically for my arrival," the Surfer replied grimly. "Someone who has been waiting for a being of cosmic power to enter this galaxy." They raced from the archives towards the temple's upper levels, but the Surfer's cosmic awareness was already calculating probabilities and outcomes. This wasn't a random attack. This was a trap that had been set long before he ever arrived in this reality. And whoever had set it understood far more about cosmic power than they should have. The unknown fleet hung in high orbit like a constellation of malevolence, their ships defying conventional design principles. Where Republic and Separatist vessels followed clean geometric aesthetics, these craft seemed grown rather than built. Organic curves merged with metallic surfaces, and their hulls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that formed Sith script. The Silver Surfer's cosmic awareness identified technology that shouldn't exist in this galaxy. Dimensional anchors, reality stabilizers, and what appeared to be consciousness-binding matrices woven from dark-side energy. Someone had been expecting him, or expecting something like him. The Surfer burst from the Jedi Temple's main entrance, his board carrying him skyward at speeds that turned him into a silver streak against Coruscant's eternal twilight. Behind him, Jedi starfighters scrambled from temple hangars, whilst Republic defense platforms powered up their weapons. But the Cosmic Herald's attention focused entirely on the flagship at the center of the unknown fleet, a massive dreadnought that registered to his senses as part warship, part mystical artifact. On the bridge of that dreadnought, a figure stood alone before the viewports, watching the silver streak ascend toward them. She was humanoid, but clearly not human. Her skin held a pale purple hue, and intricate tattoos covered her arms in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Her eyes glowed with the same yellow fire that marked Sith corruption, but her Force presence carried something else. Something ancient and patient, as if she'd been waiting centuries for this moment. "At last," she whispered. her voice carrying harmonics that resonated across multiple dimensions. The cosmic anomaly manifests. The prophecy spoke truth. A being of pure power, untouched by the Force, would enter our reality during the Great War. She raised one hand, and the tattoos on her arms began to glow. Activate the binding spheres. Prepare the consciousness cage. This herald will serve the Sith Empire's return, whether he wills it or not. The surfer felt the dimensional anchors activate, massive devices on each ship that began projecting energy fields designed to lock down local space-time. His cosmic awareness immediately recognized the threat. These weren't weapons meant to destroy. They were mystical technological hybrids designed to trap beings that existed partially outside normal reality. The ancient Sith had encountered cosmic entities before and developed countermeasures. He accelerated, channeling cosmic power through his form, and reality rippled in his wake. The dimensional anchors strained against his passage, trying to lock onto his position, but the power cosmic flowed from a source beyond this universe's laws. He slipped through their grasp like mercury through fingers. "Impossible," the purple-skinned Sith muttered, her confidence flickering. The anchors should hold anything below a Force entity's power level. What is this herald? Her second-in-command, a massive humanoid creature with cortosis weave armor, growled his response. "Scans indicate his energy output exceeds our projections by a factor of 10. The consciousness matrices won't hold him at current calibration." "Then recalibrate," she snapped. "I have spent 300 years in stasis waiting for this opportunity. I will not fail because our ancient texts underestimated cosmic power." She extended both hands, and dark side energy erupted from her form, feeding directly into the binding systems. "Channel my power through the cage. Use my life force if necessary. This herald will be ours." The surfer reached the fleet's outer perimeter and released a pulse of cosmic energy, a controlled burst designed to disable weapons without destroying ships. Silver light washed across 3 frigates, and their systems began shutting down as molecular bonds in their power conduits restructured into insulators. But these ships didn't shut down. Instead, they absorbed his cosmic energy, their Sith runes glowing brighter as if feeding on the power he'd projected. The surfer pulled back, reassessing. These vessels were designed to counter beings like him. They turned incoming energy against its source, redirecting cosmic power through dark, mystical channels that polluted it with corruption. "Clever," he acknowledged aloud. "You studied cosmic entities and built weapons specifically to bind them, but you've made one critical error." He dove between 2 capital ships, his board carving impossible angles through space, and reached out with his matter manipulation. Rather than attacking the ship's systems, he targeted the space around them, the asteroids, debris, and scattered matter floating in Coruscant's orbital zones. Molecular structures shifted at his command, and suddenly the unknown fleet found itself encased in an expanding sphere of hardened atmospheric gases, transmuted into transparent diamond. Not a prison, a message. The surfer could manipulate reality itself with precision these beings couldn't match with all their mystical technological hybrids. "Your error," he continued, his voice carried on cosmic frequencies every ship received, was assuming I would attack conventionally. I am not a warrior seeking to destroy enemies. I am a herald who reshapes reality to serve my purpose. On the flagship bridge, the purple-skinned Sith leader stared at the diamond sphere encasing her fleet, with something approaching respect. He converted dispersed matter into a crystalline matrix in seconds. That's transmutation at scales that should require years of alchemical preparation. She smiled, showing pointed teeth. Magnificent. I chose correctly to awaken for this one. Mistress Zarok, her second warned, he's approaching your position directly. The consciousness cage isn't fully powered. Then we improvise. Zarok drew a lightsaber unlike any the surfer had seen. Its blade burned with black fire that seemed to consume light itself. If I cannot bind him with technology and mysticism, I will bind him through direct combat and dominance. That is the ancient way. She ignited her ship's hangar bay doors and launched herself into space, her body surrounded by a dark side aura that allowed her to survive vacuum through sheer force of malevolent will. 300 years of force mastery radiated from her form as she positioned herself between the surfer and her flagship. Herald of Galactus, her telepathic voice crashed against his consciousness like a tidal wave of darkness. I am Darth Zarok, Sith sorceress of the ancient empire, preserved beyond death to witness the prophecy's fulfillment. You will submit to my will, or I will teach you that even cosmic power bows before sufficient mastery of the Force. The surfer halted his approach, studying this being who radiated confidence despite facing power that dwarfed her own. His cosmic awareness perceived her true nature. She wasn't entirely alive in conventional terms. Her body was sustained by dark side energy channeled through Sith alchemy, a technique that had preserved her in stasis for centuries while the galaxy forgot the ancient Sith Empire existed. You speak of prophecy, the surfer said. Your kind seems obsessed with predictions and destiny, but I am not of your galaxy's mystical framework. Whatever prophecy you reference, it does not apply to me. The prophecy speaks of a silver void, Zarok countered, circling him slowly in the vacuum of space. A being of power who exists outside the Force yet within reality, arriving during the galaxy's greatest war to tip the balance toward ultimate darkness or light. You are that being, Herald. Your arrival was foreseen 3,000 years ago by Sith prophets who peered beyond the boundaries of our reality. Then your prophets were mistaken, the surfer replied. I arrived by accident through dimensional breach I did not create. I tip no balances. I seek only to return home. Accident? Zarok laughed, the sound somehow carrying through the void. Nothing happens by accident when the Force is involved. Your dimensional breach was no random occurrence. It was the Force itself reaching beyond reality's boundaries to summon the power necessary for the final transformation. And I will be the one to harness that power. She struck without warning, her black fire lightsaber cutting through space towards the surfer's neck. The blade moved with speeds enhanced by Force precognition and centuries of combat mastery, but the power cosmic operated outside precognitive timelines. The surfer simply wasn't where Zarok's blow landed, having shifted position at speeds that made light itself seem sluggish. His counterattack came as a pulse of cosmic energy focused to a razor's edge, not meant to kill but to test her defenses. The energy struck Zarok's dark side aura and actually penetrated it, forcing the ancient Sith to pour more power into her protection to avoid cellular disruption. You're strong, she gasped, genuine surprise coloring her telepathic voice. Stronger than the prophecy suggested. But strength alone means nothing without the will to use it absolutely. She gestured with her free hand, and the consciousness cage aboard her flagship activated despite incomplete charging. Beams of energy shot from the dreadnought. Not conventional weapons, but mystical projections designed to entangle the surfer's mind itself. They struck his cosmic awareness like nets woven from concentrated dark side malevolence, attempting to bind his consciousness to Zarok's will. For the first time since arriving in this galaxy, the surfer felt genuine pain. Not physical. His silver form was nearly invulnerable, but metaphysical. The consciousness cage targeted something deeper than matter or energy. It attacked the fundamental nature of his being, trying to rewrite his purpose from Herald of Galactus to Servant of Darth Zarok. His scream of resistance echoed across multiple dimensions, and Coruscant's entire population felt it, a cosmic wrongness that made the Force itself recoil. In the Jedi Temple, Yoda collapsed, clutching his chest. On distant Korriban, ancient Sith tombs cracked, and somewhere in the shadows of the Senate, Darth Sidious felt the disturbance and smiled with malicious satisfaction. "Yes," Zarok exulted, pouring more dark side energy into the cage. "Feel your will bending, Herald. Your cosmic power will serve the Sith, and through you, we will conquer not just this galaxy, but all realities. Galactus himself will bow before the perfected dark side." But the surfer had been bound before, to Galactus, to cosmic duty, to the guilt of 1,000 destroyed worlds. He knew the weight of chains on consciousness, and he had spent eons learning to maintain his core self despite those chains. "No," he said, and the word carried absolute cosmic certainty. "I am bound to Galactus because I chose that servitude to save my world. But I will never choose servitude to those who would use my power for conquest." The power cosmic surged through his form, not directed outward but inward, reinforcing the fundamental structures of his consciousness against Zarok's mystical assault. His will crystallized into cosmic adamant, unbreakable, immovable, eternal. The consciousness cage shattered against that will like glass against granite. The backlash of dark side energy exploded across Zarok's fleet, overloading the Sith technology that had sustained it. Ships' systems failed, mystical matrices collapsed, and the ancient sorceress herself was hurled backward by psychic feedback, her protective aura flickering dangerously. The surfer didn't press his advantage with violence. Instead, he simply reached out with his matter manipulation and began dismantling the consciousness cage at the molecular level, reducing the artifact that had taken ancient Sith centuries to construct into its constituent atoms. "Impossible," Zarok whispered, her confidence finally cracking into genuine fear. The consciousness cage was forged from the essence of consumed Force entities. It should bind anything below a cosmic fundamental's power. "What are you?" "I am Norin Rad," the surfer replied, his voice resonant with cosmic truth. "I serve Galactus not because I was conquered, but because I chose servitude over my world's destruction. That choice, made freely, gives me strength you cannot comprehend. Your cage might have bound me if I were your prisoner, but you cannot enslave someone who has already accepted the only bondage they will ever allow." He gestured, and Zarok's lightsaber simply stopped functioning, its kyber crystal's molecular structure temporarily disrupted. All across her fleet, weapons systems shut down, as the surfer demonstrated that their technological mystical hybrids were ultimately just matter and energy, substances he could reshape with a thought. "Leave this system," he commanded. "Return to whatever dark corner of the galaxy spawned you, I will not kill you, but I will not tolerate further attempts at enslavement. Warn your Sith masters that cosmic power cannot be bound by mystic chains." Zarok floated in space, defeated but not destroyed. Her 300-year plan crumbling around her. Her voice, when she spoke, carried bitter respect. "You're wasting yourself, Herald. That power could remake galaxies, and you use it merely to defend your right to serve another. The Sith could have shown you true freedom." "The Sith," the surfer replied quietly, "understand neither freedom nor power. You seek to dominate others because you cannot master yourselves. That is not strength. That is weakness wearing strength's mask." He turned away from her, dismissing the ancient sorceress as a threat. His cosmic awareness had detected something far more concerning during the battle. The dimensional distortions created by Zarok's technology had resonated across realities, creating echoes that would be perceptible to sufficiently powerful beings like Galactus. The surfer had hoped to return home quietly, to slip back into his universe without his master noticing the breach. But the consciousness cage's activation had sent ripples through the dimensional boundaries, ripples that might draw Galactus's attention to this force-rich galaxy like a beacon. Below, on Coruscant's surface, the Jedi felt the battle conclude, and the unknown fleet beginning its retreat. But Yoda, recovering from the psychic shock, sensed what the others missed. The Herald's victory had come at a price. Something had been set in motion that even cosmic power might not be able to stop. The Clone Wars had paused briefly to witness a battle beyond their comprehension, but soon it would resume. And now both Republic and Separatists knew beyond doubt that the Silver Surfer possessed power capable of defeating ancient Sith technology and sorcery. Both sides would want that power, and neither side would accept his refusal to be weaponized. The surfer descended back toward Coruscant, his chrome form reflecting the planet's city lights like a falling star. He had won this battle without taking a single life, maintaining his principles even against beings who sought to corrupt his very consciousness. But victory felt hollow because his cosmic awareness now detected subtle vibrations in the dimensional barriers, resonances that suggested something vast and hungry had noticed them. Somewhere across the dimensional void, Galactus stirred in his contemplation of entropy. His herald had vanished from his perception, lost beyond the boundaries of their reality. But now, faintly, he sensed cosmic power being wielded in a dimension adjacent to his own, a dimension saturated with life energy that called to his eternal hunger like the most magnificent feast imaginable. The clock had begun counting down, and the Silver Surfer had no idea how much time remained before Galactus found a way to follow his herald into this unsuspecting galaxy. The Jedi Council chamber felt smaller than it had before, as if the revelation of ancient Sith sorceresses and consciousness-binding technology had compressed the room's perceived space. All 12 council members sat in their traditional positions, but their usual composed demeanor had fractured. They'd witnessed the orbital battle through force visions and sensor feeds, watched the Silver Surfer dismantle weapons that shouldn't exist with power that defied their understanding of reality. The Surfer stood at the chamber's center, his chrome form reflecting the holographic displays, still showing Zarok's retreating fleet. He'd returned to the temple immediately after the battle, knowing the Jedi would have questions. What he hadn't expected was the fear he sensed beneath their diplomatic facades. "Ancient Sith," Mace Windu said, his deep voice carrying the weight of 3 centuries worth of denied nightmares made real. We thought the Sith extinct, reduced to the rule of 2, but this Darth Zarok claims to be from the old Sith Empire, preserved in stasis for 300 years, waiting for a prophecy about your arrival. She spoke of a silver void, Obi-Wan added, stroking his beard thoughtfully. A being outside the Force who would tip the balance toward darkness or light. That's uncomfortably specific for a prophecy supposedly written 3,000 years before you existed. The surfer had been considering this exact paradox. In my experience with cosmic entities, prophecy often works through probability rather than predestination. Your ancient Sith likely perceived a pattern, a statistical likelihood that beings of cosmic power would eventually breach dimensional boundaries into your reality. They prepared countermeasures for that eventuality, not for me specifically. Yet her technology nearly worked, Kai Adimundi observed grimly. The consciousness cage caused you pain. We all felt your psychic scream across the Force. Even cosmic power has vulnerabilities. Everything has vulnerabilities, the surfer agreed. Even Galactus can be harmed, though few beings in my universe possess sufficient power to exploit his weaknesses. But vulnerability is not the same as defeat. Zarok's cage failed because it attempted to rewrite my fundamental nature. That particular form of attack I have extensive experience resisting. Yoda's ears twitched, his ancient eyes studying the herald with uncomfortable intensity. Extensive experience, you say? Tried to reprogram you before others have? The surfer's metallic features arranged themselves into something resembling bitter memory. Cosmic entities, reality warpers, even Galactus himself in moments of extreme hunger, all have attempted to override my will to make me a more compliant tool. I have learned to maintain my core self, even when my body and power serve another's purpose. It is a survival skill when one exists at cosmic scales. That's horrifying, Shakti said quietly, her Togruta mantrals detecting the genuine pain beneath the surfer's words. You've essentially become an expert at being enslaved while keeping your soul intact. An accurate summary, the surfer acknowledged without self-pity. But that expertise now protects me from beings like Zarok, who seek to add me to their arsenals. Her mistake was assuming cosmic power could be claimed through mystical dominance. She didn't understand that my power flows from my relationship with Galactus. It's not mine to give away, even if I wanted to. Mace Windu leaned forward, his expression severe. Which brings us to the critical issue. Herald Rad, during your battle, our sensors detected massive dimensional distortions. Master Yoda and several other council members felt something. A presence stirring beyond reality's boundaries. Something vast and hungry that took notice of the energy being released. The surfer had known this conversation was coming. Galactus, he confirmed. The consciousness cage's activation created dimensional echoes. My master is a cosmic fundamental. He perceives disturbances across reality's fabric. The echoes likely drew his attention to the boundaries between our universes. The temperature in the council chamber seemed to drop 10 degrees. Every Jedi present understood the implication immediately. How long? Obi-Wan asked, his diplomatic composure cracking to reveal genuine dread. How long before this Galactus finds a way to breach into our galaxy? The surfer's cosmic awareness reached out, feeling along the dimensional barriers, detecting the subtle vibrations that indicated attention from the other side. Unknown. If Galactus perceives this reality as sufficiently rich in life energy, he will devote considerable power to creating a stable passage. Given his capabilities, that process could take anywhere from days to months, depending on the dimensional topology between our universes. Days, Plo Koon repeated, his voice hollow through his breath mask. We could have days before a being capable of devouring entire planets arrives in our galaxy, and we're currently engaged in the largest war the Republic has ever fought. The timing is unfortunate, the surfer agreed. But understand, Galactus is not evil in any conventional sense. He is entropy's avatar, necessary destruction that makes room for new creation. In my universe, his feeding maintains cosmic balance. But this galaxy, he paused, choosing his words carefully. This galaxy is saturated with force energy in ways that would be irresistible to him. Your living force connecting all consciousness would shine to his senses like the most magnificent feast imaginable. Then we need to send you back, Anakin said from where he stood near the chamber's entrance, his presence tense with barely controlled desperation. Now, before Galactus breaks through, you said you could find a way to return home, so do it. Save this galaxy by leaving it. Skywalker, Mace Windu warned, but Anakin continued, his voice rising with the passion that so often led him astray. I'm right, and you know it. Every moment the surfer stays here increases the chance that Galactus follows. We're risking trillions of lives because we want to study cosmic power or use it against the separatists. Send him home, seal the dimensional breach, and we never have to worry about world-devouring entities invading our reality. The surfer turned his glowing eyes toward Anakin, perceiving the layers beneath the young Jedi's argument. Fear, yes, fear for the galaxy, for his secret wife, for the future he'd seen in visions, but also resentment that the Herald wouldn't solve the Clone Wars for them, wouldn't use his power to create the perfect, peaceful galaxy Anakin desperately craved. Your logic is sound, the surfer said calmly. My departure would reduce the risk to your galaxy significantly, but there are complications. First, I haven't yet discovered how to create a stable dimensional portal. The Sith texts provided theoretical frameworks, but actually piercing reality's boundaries requires more than theory. We have the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy, Obi-Wan said quickly, seizing on the possibility. Republic researchers, Jedi scholars, even separatist scientists, if we could somehow negotiate access to their data. Surely with your cosmic awareness guiding us, we could develop the necessary technology. Perhaps, the surfer allowed, but there's a second complication. If I open a portal back to my universe while Galactus is actively searching for me, I will essentially create a doorway directly into your galaxy. He would follow me through immediately, and you would face exactly the threat you're trying to prevent. The council chamber fell silent as that reality sank in. They'd been hoping the surfer's departure would solve their problem, but instead, it might accelerate the catastrophe. Then what do we do? Shakti asked quietly. If you staying risks drawing Galactus's attention, and you leaving creates a doorway for him to follow, how do we protect this galaxy? The surfer had been contemplating this exact question since feeling the dimensional resonance. There is a third option, though it carries its own dangers. I could attempt to mask this reality from Galactus's perception. Using my cosmic power, I might be able to create a dimensional shroud, a form of cosmic camouflage that would make this galaxy less perceptible to my master's senses. Might be able to, Mace Windu repeated skeptically. You're not certain this would work. Cosmic certainty is rare even for heralds, the surfer admitted. Galactus's perception operates at scales beyond conventional understanding. But I am connected to him through the power cosmic. I know how his awareness functions. If I carefully manipulate the dimensional boundaries, introducing interference patterns that diffuse this galaxy's force energy signature, I could theoretically reduce its attractiveness to him. Yoda's ears perked up. The force itself you would mask. Possible, that is. The force is energy, the surfer explained. Mystical energy, yes, but still subject to cosmic principles. I cannot eliminate it. That would require rewriting your reality's fundamental nature. But I can potentially obscure it, the way a cloud obscures starlight without extinguishing the star. Do it, Anakin said immediately. Whatever the risks, it's better than doing nothing. The risks are considerable, the surfer cautioned. Manipulating dimensional boundaries on such scale could have unforeseen effects on your galaxy's physical laws. Your hyperspace travel relies on dimensional shortcuts. I might disrupt those pathways. Your force itself could be affected, weakened, or strengthened in unpredictable ways. And if I make an error, I could create a dimensional weak point that makes Galactus's breach easier rather than harder. The Jedi Council exchanged glances laden with unspoken communication. They were being asked to gamble their galaxy's fundamental nature against the threat of cosmic devastation. Both options carried unacceptable risks. There's another factor to consider, Obi-Wan said carefully. Chancellor Palpatine has been requesting a private audience with the Herald since the orbital battle. The Senate is pressuring us to surrender custody of Norin Rad to Republic Military Command, and our intelligence indicates the Separatists are developing new weapons specifically designed to counter cosmic power based on data they gathered from Zarok's attack. Both sides of your war want to weaponize me, the surfer observed. I expected this. But can you resist both the Republic and Confederacy simultaneously? Mace Windu asked bluntly. You're powerful, yes, but this galaxy contains trillions of beings, thousands of warships, and Force users whose abilities you're still learning to understand. If both sides unite against you, if they deploy weapons designed specifically to counter your abilities. I could leave Coruscant, the surfer said simply. Depart to the galaxy's outer reaches, where I could work on dimensional masking without political interference. They'll hunt you, Anakin predicted. Both sides will dedicate entire fleets to capturing or killing you. And with Zarok's technology as a template, they'll develop weapons that actually pose a threat. You might be able to disable ships without casualties now, but when they start targeting civilians to force your surrender. He left the implication hanging. The surfer's cosmic awareness confirmed Anakin's prediction. He'd observed this pattern across countless civilizations. When beings encountered power they couldn't control, they often resorted to hostage tactics, threatening the innocent to manipulate those with the capacity to intervene. It was a strategy that worked depressingly well against anyone who retained their conscience. Then I need allies, the surfer concluded, beings who understand the threat Galactus poses and are willing to help me create the dimensional shroud before either side of your war forces a confrontation. The Jedi Order can provide that alliance, Mace Windu offered, though his expression suggested he knew the complications that agreement would create. We'll shield you from Republic political pressure and help you access the resources needed for dimensional manipulation. In exchange, You share your knowledge of cosmic principles and assist us in understanding the greater threats facing this galaxy, including identifying the hidden Sith Master, orchestrating the Clone Wars," Obi-Wan added. "You said your cosmic awareness pierces the mystical veils that blind us. We need that perception." The surfer considered the offer carefully. Allying with the Jedi would paint a target on his back from both Republic politicians who wanted to control him and separatist leaders who wanted to destroy him. But working alone risked creating exactly the kind of desperation-driven confrontations that would force him to choose between using lethal force or allowing innocent casualties. And perhaps, working with the Jedi, he could help this galaxy find its own strength before Galactus arrived. They needed to be prepared to defend themselves because the surfer knew from bitter experience that external saviors always failed, eventually. "I accept your alliance," he said finally, "but understand, I will not fight your war. I will defend myself when attacked, and I will protect innocents when possible, but I will not become a weapon for either the Republic or the Jedi Order. My purpose is to prevent Galactus from devouring this galaxy, nothing more." "Fair terms," Mace Windu agreed, extending his hand in the human gesture of agreement. "The Jedi Order doesn't seek weapons, Herald Rad. We seek wisdom and protection for those who cannot protect themselves." The surfer took the offered hand, his chrome fingers closing around Windu's with carefully controlled strength. Through the physical contact, he felt the Jedi Master's force presence more clearly. Discipline honed through decades of practice, determination to protect the innocent, but also doubt. Doubt that the Jedi Order was making the right choices, doubt that they could win this war, and doubt that allying with cosmic power wouldn't corrupt them the way power had corrupted the Sith. "Your doubt is wise," the surfer said quietly, releasing Windu's hand. "Power corrupts most easily those who believe themselves immune to corruption. Stay vigilant, Master Windu. Watch me, question me, and never assume my cosmic abilities make my judgment superior to your own." "I don't think we'll have trouble maintaining healthy skepticism," Obi-Wan said with a slight smile. "The Jedi have millennia of experience being skeptical." Alarms began blaring before anyone could respond. Commander Cody's voice crackled over the communications system with barely suppressed panic. "Masters, we have a situation. Multiple Republic Star Destroyers just entered high orbit and are demanding the Silver Surfer's immediate surrender by order of the Supreme Chancellor. They're threatening to level the temple if we don't comply within 10 minutes. The council chamber erupted into controlled chaos. Yoda struck his stick against the floor, demanding silence, while Mace Windu activated holographic displays, showing the Republic warships, forming an attack perimeter around the Temple District. "Palpatine moved faster than we expected," Obi-Wan muttered. "He's using military force against the Jedi Order itself. That's unprecedented. The Republic doesn't threaten its own peacekeepers." The surfer's cosmic awareness expanded, perceiving the warships and their crews. Clone commanders following orders they didn't understand. Jedi aboard those vessels torn between loyalty to the Chancellor and loyalty to their order, and beneath it all, a dark presence watching the confrontation with malicious satisfaction. "Your hidden Sith Master," the surfer said, his eyes blazing with cosmic light. "He's orchestrating this confrontation. He wants me to resist, to create a violent incident that will justify further Republic action against the Jedi. Or he wants me to surrender so he can study cosmic power personally. Either outcome serves his agenda. Then what do we do? Anakin demanded, his hand already on his lightsaber hilt. We can't let Palpatine take you. He'll weaponize your power for the war effort. But we also can't fight the Republic fleet. That would be treason. The surfer looked at each council member in turn, seeing the impossible choice forcing itself upon them: surrender their cosmic ally and lose any chance of preventing Galactus's arrival, or resist the Republic's demands and plunge the galaxy into civil war within civil war. There is a third option, the surfer said quietly. I leave. Immediately, publicly, in a manner that makes it clear the Jedi had no power to stop me. You maintain political neutrality while I operate independently. Alone, Obi-Wan protested, against both Republic and Separatist forces hunting you, plus ancient Sith awakening to claim your power. That's suicide. I am the Herald of Galactus, the surfer replied, his voice resonant with cosmic certainty. I have traversed hostile galaxies, survived the attention of cosmic entities, and maintained my identity against beings that reshape reality with thoughts. Your galaxy's threats are significant, but they are not beyond my capacity to survive. He summoned his board, cosmic energy swirling beneath his feet, preparing for immediate departure. Tell your Chancellor that the Silver Surfer rejected Jedi custody. Tell both sides of your war that I will not be claimed, controlled, or weaponized. And tell them that anyone who pursues me will face the full capacity of cosmic power in self-defense. Wait! Anakin stepped forward desperately. At least let us help you. A ship, supplies, coordinates for hidden bases in the Outer Rim. Something. The surfer paused, recognizing genuine concern beneath Anakin's urgency. Your offer is appreciated, Anakin Skywalker, but the best help the Jedi can provide is information. Tell me, where in this galaxy could I work undisturbed on dimensional manipulation? Where does the Force run thin enough that my cosmic modifications won't cause catastrophic disruptions? Yoda's ears perked up, ancient memory stirring. The unknown regions, he said slowly, beyond the Outer Rim, where hyperspace routes grow unstable and Force presence. Different it is. Few venture there. Dangerous, yes, but isolated. For your purpose, perhaps ideal. The surfer's cosmic awareness reached outward, perceiving the regions Yoda described. They registered as dimensional anomalies, places where this galaxy's reality grew thin, touching boundaries to other realms, perfect for the kind of cosmic work he needed to perform. Then that is where I'll go, he declared. Thank you, Master Yoda, and thank you all for your alliance, brief as it was. If I succeed in masking this galaxy from Galactus, we will never meet again. If I fail, he left the rest unsaid. May the Force be with you, Obi-Wan said quietly, even if you exist outside it. The Silver Surfer didn't respond with words. Instead, he simply accelerated, moving so fast he became pure light, bursting through the temple's roof and streaking into Coruscant's sky before the Republic warships could even register his departure. Behind him, on the temple's roof, where he'd carved a perfectly circular exit hole, Anakin Skywalker stood watching the silver streak vanish toward the stars, his emotions a storm of frustration, admiration, and growing desperation. The surfer had rejected easy power, had turned away from a war he could have ended, had chosen cosmic duty over galactic salvation, and Anakin couldn't understand why that choice felt so wrong and so right simultaneously. The unknown regions lived up to their designation, as the Silver Surfer penetrated deeper into the galaxy's uncharted territories, space itself became unstable. Hyperspace routes twisted back on themselves. Stars burned with colors that shouldn't exist in conventional physics, and the force energy that permeated the known galaxy thinned to barely perceptible threads. His cosmic awareness detected anomalies that reminded him of dimensional weak points in his own universe, places where reality's fabric wore thin enough to glimpse what lay beyond. Perfect for his purposes, dangerous for anyone else. He'd been traveling for 3 standard days, evading pursuit with ease. Republic scouts had attempted to track him through the outer rim, but the Surfer moved faster than their sensors could follow, leaving false energy signatures to confuse pursuit. Separatist probe droids had fared no better, and when a bold group of bounty hunters, apparently hired by parties unknown, had tried to capture him using Zarok-inspired binding technology, he'd simply transmitted their weapons into inert alloys and left them floating helplessly in space with enough oxygen to survive until rescue. Now hovering near a binary star system whose gravitational fluctuations created natural dimensional ripples, the Surfer began his work. He extended his cosmic awareness to its fullest extent, perceiving the fundamental structure of this galaxy's reality. The Force wove through everything like threads of living consciousness, connecting all life in patterns that were simultaneously beautiful and fragile. But those threads also created a signature, a specific vibrational frequency that would shine brilliantly to any cosmic entity, capable of perceiving across dimensional boundaries. Galactus would see this galaxy the way a starving man sees a feast. The sheer density of life energy, the mystical force connecting it all, the billions of conscious minds all linked through metaphysical bonds, it would be irresistible. The Surfer had to change that perception without destroying what made this galaxy unique. He began by manipulating the dimensional boundaries themselves, using the power cosmic to create interference patterns in the space-time fabric. It was delicate work, requiring precision at quantum scales while maintaining awareness of macroscopic effects. One miscalculation could tear holes in reality large enough to swallow star systems. Silver energy flowed from his hands, reshaping reality's fundamental structures. He wove cosmic radiation into the dimensional barriers, creating layers of mystical scientific shielding that would diffuse the Force's signature when perceived from outside this universe. Not eliminating it, that would require rewriting the galaxy's basic nature, but obscuring it, like viewing a brilliant light through progressively more layers of frosted glass. Hours passed, then days. The Surfer worked without rest, without distraction, pouring his entire being into the cosmic construction. Around him, the binary stars continued their eternal dance, their gravitational interplay creating natural resonances that amplified his dimensional manipulations. He didn't notice when the first Republic scouts found his position, didn't register when they reported back, triggering the deployment of a full Republic task force, and he certainly didn't perceive the hidden presence, observing everything from a cloaked Sith infiltrator ship positioned at the system's edge. Count Dooku watched the Silver Surfer work through holographic displays, his aged features arranged in contemplative calculation. Fascinating. He's manipulating space-time itself with the same ease I might use to pour tea. The power involved is staggering. "Should we attack, my lord?" General Grievous asked from beside him, the cyborg's mechanical voice eager for violence. Our new weapons are specifically calibrated to disrupt cosmic energy signatures if we strike while he's focused on his dimensional work." "No," Dooku interrupted sharply. "Observe only. My master wishes to understand what the Herald is attempting before we intervene." He leaned forward, sensing something through the force that troubled him. He's not preparing a weapon or building a fortress. He's constructing some form of shroud, a dimensional camouflage that will make this galaxy less visible to external perception. "Why would he?" Grievous began. Then the realization struck even his mechanical consciousness. His master, Galactus. The Herald is trying to hide this galaxy from the devourer of worlds. "Indeed," Dooku confirmed, his respect for the surfer's strategic thinking growing. He knows Galactus is searching for him. Rather than flee and risk leading his master here, he's attempting to make this entire galaxy disappear from cosmic awareness. Bold, desperate, and if he succeeds, it will deny both the Republic and Confederacy access to his power permanently. On the bridge of the Republic Star Destroyer Resolute, Anakin Skywalker stood beside Admiral Yularen, staring at the silver figure working in the distance. Ahsoka Tano, his Padawan, stood nearby, her Montrals detecting energy patterns that made her force senses ache. "Master, what's he doing?" Ahsoka asked. "The energy readings are off every scale. It's like he's rewriting reality itself." "He's protecting us," Anakin said quietly, his mechanical hand clenching the railing. "Building a shield we can't see, fighting a threat we can barely comprehend, while we're here preparing to attack him because politicians want his power." "Our orders are clear," Admiral Yularen said uncomfortably. "Chancellor Palpatine commanded us to apprehend the Silver Surfer by any means necessary. He claims the Herald poses an existential threat to the Republic." "The only existential threat here is Galactus," Anakin snapped, "and the Surfer is trying to prevent that threat while we distract him with military posturing." He spun toward the Admiral. "What if our apprehension disrupts his work? What if we create exactly the vulnerability that allows this world devourer through?" "Then what do you suggest, General Skywalker?" Yularen asked carefully, recognizing the dangerous ground they were treading. Questioning the Chancellor's direct orders bordered on treason. Anakin was saved from answering by a massive surge of energy from the Surfer's position. The binary stars flared simultaneously, their light bending around the Herald's silver form as cosmic power reached a crescendo. Reality itself rippled like disturbed water, and every force-sensitive being within 100 light-years felt the galaxy shift in ways that had no name. The dimensional shroud was nearing completion, but the Surfer's cosmic awareness, stretched across light-years of space-time manipulation, finally registered the threats converging on his position. Republic warships approaching from one vector, separatist forces from another, and something else, multiple something elses, moving through hyperspace toward this system with energy signatures that resonated with dark mystical power. More Sith were coming, and they were bringing weapons. The Surfer tried to accelerate his work, but dimensional manipulation couldn't be rushed without catastrophic errors. He needed at least 12 more hours to complete the shroud properly, to weave the final layers of cosmic camouflage that would render this galaxy imperceptible to Galactus's hunger. 12 hours he apparently wouldn't get. "Herald of Galactus," a voice boomed across all communication frequencies. Chancellor Palpatine himself, transmitted from Coruscant to reach even the unknown regions. You have violated Republic space, rejected lawful authority, and pose an immediate threat to galactic security. Surrender yourself to Republic custody immediately, or you will be classified as an enemy combatant and engaged with lethal force." The surfer didn't respond. He continued his dimensional weaving, silver energy flowing from his hands in increasingly complex patterns. Every second counted. Every moment brought him closer to completion. "Very well." Palpatine's voice carried disappointment that sounded almost genuine. "All Republic vessels, you are authorized to use experimental weapons. Capture if possible. Neutralization if necessary. The safety of trillions depends on containing this cosmic threat." Anakin felt his blood run cold. "Experimental weapons? Admiral, what experimental weapons?" Yularen's expression was grim. "Something developed by Republic's Special Weapons Division, based on analysis of the ancient Sith technology that attacked the Herald over Coruscant. I don't know the specifications. They're classified above my clearance level." On 3 Republic Star destroyers, previously hidden weapons ports opened, revealing crystalline arrays that pulsed with energy that was part technological, part mystical. Republic scientists had somehow reverse-engineered fragments of Zarok's consciousness cage, creating crude approximations of Sith-binding technology married to conventional weapons platforms. They called them reality anchors, and they were about to fire. The surfer felt the weapon's charge, his cosmic awareness screaming warnings. These weren't conventional energy weapons. They were targeting the dimensional structure he was carefully weaving, designed to collapse his cosmic manipulations back into normal space-time. If they fired while his work was incomplete, the backlash would create a dimensional rupture that could swallow this entire star system. He had seconds to choose. Continue his work and risk catastrophic failure when the weapons hit, or abandon the nearly complete dimensional shroud to defend himself. Before he could decide, a different ship dropped out of hyperspace directly between him and the Republic fleet, a Jedi cruiser broadcasting urgent identification codes, and standing on its bridge, projecting his presence across all communication channels, was Obi-Wan Kenobi. "Attention Republic forces, this is Jedi General Kenobi acting under Council authority. Cease fire immediately. The Herald is not attacking. He's constructing a defensive shield to protect this galaxy from external cosmic threats. Disrupting his work could create a dimensional breach that endangers everything within 100 light years." "Master Kenobi," Palpatine's voice carried subtle menace beneath diplomatic civility, "you overstep your authority. The Jedi Council has no jurisdiction over matters of galactic security determined by the Senate and Supreme Chancellor. Stand down, or you will be charged with obstruction." "I don't care about charges," Obi-Wan shot back, his diplomatic composure finally cracking. "I care about not creating the very catastrophe we're trying to prevent. Chancellor, I've seen the Herald's capabilities. If you force a confrontation while he's manipulating dimensional barriers, you won't capture him. You'll kill everyone in this system and possibly destabilize hyperspace routes across the entire sector." The surfer felt Obi-Wan's gambit through his cosmic awareness. The Jedi was buying him time, putting his own career and possibly his life on the line to let the Herald complete his work. It was the kind of self-sacrificing courage that reminded the surfer painfully of why he'd become Galactus's herald in the first place. He redoubled his efforts, pouring every fragment of concentration into completing the dimensional shroud. The binary star's light bent further, space-time rippling like water, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. "Master Kenobi's objection is noted," Palpatine said, his voice now carrying open contempt. "But overruled. All vessels fire." The reality anchors discharged, sending beams of corrupted energy toward the Surfer's position. But Obi-Wan's ship accelerated directly into their path, its shields absorbing the initial impact before failing catastrophically. The cruiser began to spiral, its hull breaching, atmosphere venting into space. "Master!" Ahsoka screamed from the Resolute's bridge. Anakin moved without thinking, his Force presence blazing as he sprinted toward the hangar bay. "Prepare my starfighter now!" But the Surfer had already moved. His cosmic awareness had perceived Obi-Wan's ship dying, perceived the Jedi General evacuating his crew to escape pods, perceived the terrible choice facing him: complete his dimensional work and let allies die, or save them and abandon the galaxy's protection. Galactus had taught him many lessons over the eons, but one Norrin Rad had learned himself, long before becoming a herald. Some choices transcended strategic calculation. Some moments demanded you act according to who you were, not what was optimal. He released his hold on the dimensional shroud, leaving it 87% complete, and accelerated toward Obi-Wan's dying ship faster than light itself. In less than a second, he reached the cruiser, extended his matter manipulation through its entire structure, and simply stopped the molecular decay. The hull breaches sealed. The failing system stabilized, and the ship's death spiral transformed into a controlled drift. Inside, Obi-Wan blinked in confusion as systems that should have been destroyed suddenly functioned again. "What? You gambled your life to buy me time." The Surfer's voice resonated through the ship's communication systems. "I do not abandon those who show such courage, but understand, your sacrifice may have doomed this galaxy. The shroud is incomplete." "Then complete it," Obi-Wan urged. "We'll hold off the Republic forces." "Impossible," the Surfer interrupted, his cosmic awareness perceiving new threats emerging from hyperspace. "The Separatists have arrived with Sith weaponry, and something else is coming, something that makes even my cosmic senses recoil." From the dimensional boundaries themselves, tears began to open, small at first, but growing as if something vast was testing the barriers between realities, searching for weakness. And through those tears, energy leaked, energy that made the Force itself scream in cosmic terror. Galactus had found the dimensional boundary, and the incomplete shroud, disrupted by the reality anchor's attack, had created the very weakness the Surfer had tried to prevent. On every ship, Republic and Separatist alike, sensors screamed warnings as impossible readings flooded their displays. Energy signatures equivalent to entire star clusters. Mass readings that suggested planet-sized objects approaching through space that shouldn't exist. And a presence that every Force-sensitive being felt like ice water flowing through their souls. "What is that?" Ahsoka whispered, her mantrals detecting harmonics that made her want to curl into a ball and hide. Anakin knew. Through the Force, through his visions, through the cosmic truth that the Surfer's presence had awakened in him, he knew exactly what was coming. "The end of everything," he said quietly, "if we don't find a way to stop it." In the unknown regions, the Silver Surfer hung in space between fleets that had come to capture him, staring at the dimensional tears his interrupted work had failed to prevent. The shroud was incomplete. Galactus was coming, and this galaxy had no idea what horrors awaited, when the Devourer of Worlds finally arrived. He had one option remaining, one desperate gambit that might save this reality but would cost him everything he'd fought to preserve. The Surfer could complete the dimensional shroud from the inside, using his own cosmic essence as the final layer of camouflage. It would work. Galactus would lose his herald signal and the galaxy's force signature simultaneously, rendering this reality invisible to cosmic hunger. But it would also mean sacrificing his connection to the power cosmic, becoming mortal again, trapping himself permanently in this galaxy with no way home and no way to serve Galactus ever again. His master would interpret that silence as betrayal, and Galactus did not forgive betrayal. The choice crystallized before him with terrible clarity: maintain his bondage to Galactus and watch this galaxy be consumed, or break his chains and become something he hadn't been in eons, free, powerless, and damned. Norrinrad closed his glowing eyes and made the only choice his conscience would allow. The decision burned through Norrinrad's consciousness like a star going supernova. For eons, he had been the Silver Surfer, herald of Galactus, bound to cosmic purpose and wielding power that reshaped galaxies. But beneath that chrome exterior, beneath the power cosmic flowing through every atom of his being, he was still the astronomer from Zen-La, who had sacrificed everything to save his world. And he would do it again. Listen carefully. The Surfer broadcast across all frequencies, his voice reaching every ship in the system. Republic, Separatist, and the Jedi vessels attempting to mediate. What approaches is Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. He is entropy given consciousness, destruction made manifest, a fundamental force of my universe. Your weapons cannot harm him. Your force cannot bind him. He exists at scales that make cosmic entities look insignificant. On the Resolute, Anakin felt the weight of those words like physical pressure. There has to be a way to fight. There's always a way. There is one way, the Surfer continued. I can complete the dimensional shroud using my own essence as the final binding. It will render this galaxy invisible to Galactus's perception. He will search, fail to find what he sensed, and eventually move on to other hunting grounds. He paused, and his voice carried the weight of cosmic finality. But it will cost me the power cosmic. I will become mortal again, trapped in this reality forever, unable to serve my master or return to my home universe. In the cloaked Sith infiltrator ship, Count Dooku's eyes widened with sudden understanding. He's going to sacrifice his power. That's unprecedented. A cosmic herald voluntarily surrendering his abilities? Then he'll be vulnerable, General Grievous observed with mechanical satisfaction. A mortal to be captured, studied, or eliminated as needed. Perhaps, Dooku murmured, but his force senses detected something else in the Herald's declaration, a nobility that the Sith philosophy claimed didn't exist in beings of pure power. Or perhaps we're witnessing something the galaxy hasn't seen in millennia, true sacrifice without hope of reward. On the Jedi cruiser, Obi-Wan stared at the silver figure hovering between dimensional tiers, understanding the magnitude of what the Herald proposed. He's going to give up everything: cosmic power, immortality, his very connection to his home universe, to save people he doesn't know in a galaxy he stumbled into by accident. That's insane, a clone commander muttered. No being with that much power would just surrender it. That's why it will work, Obi-Wan replied quietly, because it's the one choice Galactus won't expect from his herald. the one sacrifice too absolute to anticipate. The dimensional tiers widened. Through them, glimpses of something vast began to manifest. Metal surfaces larger than moons, energy signatures that made stars look dim by comparison, and a presence that every conscious being felt like the universe itself taking notice of their existence. Galactus was nearly through. The surfer began the final working. Silver energy erupted from his form, not directed outward this time, but inward, pulling at the very foundations of his cosmic nature. The power cosmic resisted. It was bound to him through Galactus's will, designed to be permanent, eternal, unbreakable. But Norrin Radd had spent eons studying that binding, understanding every quantum detail of how cosmic energy flowed through his transformed cells. He knew where to cut. Pain exploded through his consciousness, not physical pain, but metaphysical agony, as fundamental aspects of his being were severed and redirected. He took the power cosmic flowing through him and wove it into the incomplete dimensional shroud, using his own essence as the thread that bound cosmic energy to mystical scientific structure. His chrome skin began to lose its metallic sheen. His glowing eyes dimmed. His cosmic awareness, which had stretched across light years, contracted rapidly back to merely superhuman perception. "No!" Anakin's anguished cry echoed across communication channels. "Don't do it! There has to be another way. We can fight." "Fighting is not the answer to every problem, young Skywalker," the surfer replied, and his voice was already changing, becoming more human, more mortal. "I learned that lesson too late to save countless worlds. Perhaps you can learn it in time to save yourself from the darkness I sense waiting in your future." The dimensional shroud completed with a flash of reality-bending light that made every sensor in the system overload simultaneously. The incomplete 87% structure suddenly became 100%, bound together by cosmic essence transmuted into pure dimensional camouflage. The Force's signature throughout the galaxy instantly diffused, becoming imperceptible to external observation. And through the dimensional tiers, they heard it, a sound like the death of stars, a cosmic roar of frustration as Galactus's perception suddenly found nothing. The brilliant beacon of life energy he'd been tracking vanished as if it had never existed. His herald's signal disappeared simultaneously. The tiers began to close. Galactus was withdrawing, his interest lost, his hunger unsatisfied. The dimensional boundaries sealed, reality stabilizing, and the existential threat that had hung over this galaxy receded back into the void between universes. The silver surfer, no longer silver, his skin returning to the pale flesh tone of Zenla's people, fell from where he'd been hovering. His board dissolved completely, its cosmic energy consumed in the final working. Without the power cosmic sustaining him, without the ability to survive space's vacuum, Norrin Radd tumbled toward the binary star's gravity well, unconscious and dying. "Get him!" Obi-Wan ordered, his Jedi reflexes overriding shock. "Tractor beams, now!" But Anakin was faster. His starfighter had already launched from the Resolute, moving at maximum acceleration toward the falling figure. He extended the Force, wrapping Norrin in a protective cushion of mystical energy, slowing his fall while the starfighter closed the distance. "I've got him," Anakin transmitted. "He's alive, but barely. His body is undergoing massive cellular trauma. Whatever held him together as the Herald is gone." "Bring him to my ship," Obi-Wan commanded. "Medical Bay is standing by." On the Republic Star destroyers, confusion reigned. Their orders had been to capture the Silver Surfer, But the being they'd been hunting had just saved the galaxy by sacrificing his power. Admiral Yularen found himself in the unprecedented position of having no idea what to do next. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the Herald's energy signature is gone. Sensors register him as baseline humanoid now. No cosmic radiation, no reality distortions, nothing that would justify continued military engagement." "Chancellor Palpatine wanted the Herald captured," Yularen said slowly, "but the being we were ordered to apprehend no longer exists. We've been chasing cosmic power, and that power just ended itself." In his office on Coruscant, Darth Sidious felt the dimensional shift through the Force and permitted himself a rare moment of genuine surprise. The Herald had done the impossible, sacrificed cosmic power voluntarily, something that contradicted every Sith understanding of how power-addicted beings operated. "Fascinating," he whispered to the empty room. "Either the greatest act of nobility I've witnessed in millennia, or the most elaborate deception. Either way, he's now vulnerable, and vulnerability can be exploited." He activated secure communications to Count Dooku. "The Herald is mortal now. Retrieve him if possible. A being who once wielded cosmic power may still retain knowledge we can use." But Dooku was already making his own calculations. "I think not, my master. Something tells me that pursuing Norin Rad further would be unwise. He's made his choice, paid his price, and earned whatever peace this galaxy can offer. The Separatist Alliance has more immediate concerns." Sidious's eyes narrowed at his apprentice's unusual reluctance. But he allowed it. For now, the Clone Wars still served his purposes, regardless of one depowered cosmic entity. In the medical bay of Obi-Wan's cruiser, Norin Rad woke slowly, his consciousness struggling up from depths of exhaustion he hadn't experienced since before Galactus transformed him. His eyes no longer glowing, just ordinary eyes, open to see Anakin Skywalker standing over him. The young Jedi's expression a complex mixture of awe, confusion, and something approaching anger. "Why?" Anakin demanded without preamble. "You had power to reshape reality itself, and you just gave it up. Threw it away to save a galaxy you don't even belong to. That's not strategic. That's not rational. It's human," Norin croaked, his throat raw from screaming during the transformation. "It's human, or whatever equivalent my people represent." "I was an astronomer once, Anakin. I studied stars because I found them beautiful, not because I wanted to control them. Galactus gave me power beyond imagination, and it made me his prisoner for eons. Now I'm free. Free and powerless," Anakin shot back. "You could have saved so many people, ended so much suffering. Instead, you locked that power away to protect yourself from your master. That's not heroism, that's cowardice." "Anakin!" Obi-Wan snapped from the doorway. "Enough! The man just sacrificed everything to save us." But Norin raised a hand, a pale, mortal hand that trembled with weakness, stopping Obi-Wan's defense. "No, let him speak. I sense his pain, his fear. He watches people suffer and believes sufficient power could end all suffering. That belief will destroy him if he doesn't release it." "You don't know me," Anakin snarled. "I know desperation," Norin replied quietly. "I know the temptation to believe that more power equals more good. I've lived that belief across 1,000 worlds, Anakin, and I've learned that power solves immediate problems while creating worse ones downstream. Galactus ends hunger by devouring planets. I gained cosmic abilities by enslaving myself to entropy. The price of power is always higher than the powerful admit." Ahsoka entered the medical bay, her young face troubled. "Master Anakin, the Council is requesting immediate communication. They want to know what happened to the Herald and what our orders are now." Anakin's jaw clenched, but he turned away from Norrin, his Force presence roiling with unresolved emotions. "Tell them the Herald is dead. What remains is just a man." He left the medical bay with Ahsoka trailing behind, leaving Obi-Wan alone with Norrin. The Jedi Master approached the bed slowly, studying the pale humanoid who hours ago had been a cosmic entity. "You look disturbingly ordinary," Obi-Wan observed. "No silver skin, no glowing eyes, no reality-warping aura. Just a tired man who's been through something no being should survive." "Ordinary is what I've craved for longer than your civilization has existed," Norrin replied. "But I suspect this galaxy won't allow me to be ordinary for long. Both sides of your war will want what I know: cosmic principles, dimensional mechanics, whatever fragments of knowledge survived the transformation." "The Jedi will protect you," Obi-Wan offered. "You've earned that much." Norrin's laugh was bitter. "Protection from those who would use me for war? Master Kenobi, I served Galactus because I thought I was protecting others. I was wrong then. What makes you think Jedi protection would be different?" The question hung in the air between them, uncomfortable and unanswerable. Before Obi-Wan could respond, alarms blared again. Different ones this time, carrying a note of surprise rather than threat. "Sir," a clone officer's voice crackled over communications. "We're receiving a transmission from an unknown source. It's claiming to be a message from the Surfer's homeworld, from someone called Shalabal." Norrin's eyes widened, ordinary eyes that suddenly filled with emotion he'd suppressed for eons. "Shalabal, my wife. But that's impossible. She existed in my universe, and I just sealed the dimensional boundaries." "The transmission is coming through subspace," the officer explained. "Not from outside our reality, but from within it. Sir, there's a ship approaching our position. Small, single occupant, design unknown, and its energy signature matches the Herald's former cosmic radiation." Understanding dawned on Norrin's face, followed by horror and hope in equal measure. "When I became Galactus's herald, part of the power cosmic was derived from what I gave up. My connection to home, to Shalabal, to my former life. When I sacrificed that power to complete the dimensional shroud, I unknowingly created a beacon using emotional energy I'd carried for millennia." "A beacon to what?" Obi-Wan asked. "To the one part of my universe that might be able to follow me," Norrin whispered. "Shalabal discovered my trail across dimensions somehow. She built a ship, learned dimensional navigation, and tracked me here. My sacrifice didn't just save this galaxy. It called out to my wife across the barriers between realities." The small ship came into view on the holographic displays, elegant design that seemed half technology, half art, glowing with residual cosmic energy that suggested Zenla's science had advanced considerably in the eons since Norrin had left. And inside, a life sign that made Norrin's newly mortal heart race with emotions he'd thought dead forever. "Permission to board granted," Obi-Wan said quietly, understanding that some reunions transcended military protocol. Minutes later, in the cruiser's docking bay, Norrin Radd stood on shaking legs as the alien craft's hatch opened, and she stepped out, Shalabal, exactly as he remembered from the day Galactus had come to Zenla. Beautiful, brilliant, and staring at him with eyes that held centuries of loss and determination. "Norin," she breathed, "I've searched 1,000 dimensions for you. When you vanished from Galactus's service, I thought, but then I felt your sacrifice through the dimensional echo it created. You gave up cosmic power to save strangers. That's so perfectly you that I knew I'd finally found the right reality." He tried to speak, to explain, to apologize for the eons she'd spent searching, but words failed, choked by emotions too vast for mortal expression. Instead, he simply collapsed into her arms, holding her as if she might vanish if he released his grip. "I'm sorry," he finally managed. "I'm so sorry. I became something terrible to save our world. And it cost us everything." "You saved Zen-La," Shalabal replied firmly. "And now you've saved an entire galaxy you didn't owe anything to. That's not terrible, Norin. That's who you've always been, the astronomer who loved beauty enough to sacrifice himself for it." Around them, clone troopers and Jedi watched the reunion with varying degrees of understanding. Obi-Wan felt tears threatening behind his composed facade, recognizing love that transcended dimensions and time itself. But Anakin, watching from the bay's observation deck, felt only bitter confirmation of his fears. The surfer had given up ultimate power and found happiness, had surrendered cosmic abilities and been reunited with his lost love, as if sacrifice and weakness were somehow superior to strength and control. Anakin turned away, his mechanical hand clenching into a fist. He wouldn't make the same mistake. When his visions of loss threatened to manifest, he wouldn't trust in sacrifice or surrender. He would find power sufficient to prevent all suffering, no matter the cost. In the docking bay, unaware of the darkness coalescing in Anakin Skywalker's future, Norin Rad held his wife and felt something he hadn't experienced in eons: hope. Not cosmic hope for universal balance, but simple human hope for a life beyond servitude. "What will you do now?" Shalabal asked softly. "This galaxy is at war. They'll want to use your knowledge." "Then we'll find somewhere they can't follow," Norin replied. "The unknown regions are vast. We can disappear, live the life Galactus stole from us. Let this galaxy solve its own problems." "Is that wise?" Obi-Wan asked, approaching them carefully. "Norin, you understand cosmic principles that could help us defeat the Sith, end this war, save countless lives." "I also understand," Norin replied, his voice carrying hard-earned wisdom, "that external salvation weakens those it saves. This galaxy needs to find its own strength, forge its own heroes, make its own choices. I've interfered enough." Obi-Wan wanted to argue, but something in Norin's expression, the peace of a being finally released from obligation, stopped him. "Then I wish you both well. May you find the peace you've earned." As Shalabal's ship departed with Norin aboard, carrying them both toward the unknown regions and whatever future awaited beyond war and cosmic duty, the Clone Wars resumed its inexorable grind. Republic and Separatist forces withdrew. The crisis resolved, but the conflict ongoing. And in the dimensional boundaries surrounding the galaxy, the shroud held firm, invisible, undetectable, protecting trillions of beings from cosmic hunger they would never know threatened them. The Silver Surfer had saved them all by ceasing to exist. But Norin Rad, mortal and free, had saved himself by finally coming home. 3 months had passed since Norin Rad's sacrifice echoed across the unknown regions. The dimensional shroud held perfectly, rendering the galaxy invisible to Galactus's cosmic perception. Republic and Separatist forces had returned to their endless war, treating the Herald's brief appearance as an anomaly to be catalogued and forgotten. But for those who had witnessed cosmic power firsthand, forgetting proved impossible. On Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple's meditation chambers, Anakin Skywalker sat in forced contemplation, his thoughts anywhere but peaceful. Master Yoda had prescribed meditation after sensing the darkness growing in his former Padawan, darkness that had intensified since watching Norrin Rad surrender cosmic power for love and principle. The Order believed meditation would bring clarity. They were wrong. Anakin's visions had grown worse. Padme dying in childbirth, his children orphaned, everything he loved consumed by darkness he couldn't prevent. And now he knew that power sufficient to rewrite reality had existed in this galaxy, had been within reach, and had been thrown away by someone too weak to use it properly. Master Skywalker, a clone trooper's voice interrupted his spiraling thoughts. The Chancellor requests your immediate presence. He says it's urgent and regarding the Herald. Anakin's eyes snapped open. Within minutes, he stood in Palpatine's office, the Chancellor's grandfatherly features arranged in concerned sympathy. Anakin, my boy, I've received disturbing intelligence from our operatives in the unknown regions. Palpatine activated a holographic display showing the region where Norrin and Shalabal had disappeared. The former Herald and his companion have established a settlement on a remote world. They're living in isolation as they claimed they would, but our scouts detected something troubling. The hologram shifted, showing energy readings that made Anakin's breath catch. That's cosmic radiation, faint but present. He said he gave up all his power. Perhaps he lied, Palpatine suggested smoothly. Or perhaps cosmic power cannot be fully surrendered, merely suppressed, waiting to be reclaimed. Think, Anakin, a being who once reshaped reality with thoughts, now living as a mortal. Do you truly believe such power vanishes completely, or does it simply slumber? Anakin's mechanical hand clenched. You think he still has access to cosmic abilities, that his sacrifice was a performance to make us stop hunting him? I think, Palpatine said carefully, that we should verify whether the greatest threat to galactic security is truly neutralized or merely hiding. And I think you, having witnessed his power firsthand, are uniquely qualified to investigate. The mission was classified, undertaken with only a small clone contingent sworn to secrecy. Anakin piloted his modified starfighter into the unknown regions following coordinates provided by Republic intelligence. His official orders were reconnaissance only. Observe the former Herald and report back. But Anakin had other intentions. If Norrin still possessed even fragments of cosmic power, if the knowledge of dimensional manipulation and reality manipulation could be learned, the world Norrin and Shalabal had chosen was beautiful. A largely undeveloped planet with vast oceans, crystalline mountains, and skies that shifted through colors unknown on Coruscant. Anakin's scanners detected only 2 humanoid life signs on the entire planet, living in a modest dwelling near a coastal cliff overlooking emerald waters. He landed his fighter several kilometers away and approached on foot, using the Force to mask his presence. Through dense forest that reminded him painfully of Naboo, Anakin moved silently, his Jedi training asserting itself. Despite his conflicted intentions, the dwelling was simple, constructed from local materials using what appeared to be basic tools. No technology beyond rudimentary energy generation. No weapons, no defenses, nothing suggesting the being who lived here had once been a cosmic herald. Through a window, Anakin saw them, Norin and Shalabal, sitting together at a table, eating a simple meal and talking quietly. They looked happy, content in a way that made Anakin's chest tighten with irrational anger. This being had possessed power beyond imagination and traded it for domestic tranquility, while Anakin desperately sought any power that might prevent his visions from manifesting. He was about to retreat, report back that the herald posed no threat, when Norin's head turned sharply toward the window. Their eyes met, Norin's ordinary eyes that somehow still carried depths of cosmic experience. "I know you're there, Anakin Skywalker," Norin called out. "I've been expecting someone to come eventually. You might as well enter." Caught, Anakin abandoned stealth and approached the dwelling's entrance. The door opened before he could knock, Shalabal standing in the doorway with an expression of weary resignation. "The Jedi send someone to verify we're not a threat," she observed, "as if my husband saving your entire galaxy wasn't proof enough of his intentions." "I'm not here on Jedi business," Anakin said, the half-truth coming easily. "I came because I need to understand. You had power to prevent all suffering, to end wars, to save anyone you chose, and you gave it up. Why?" Norin appeared behind his wife, his presence somehow still commanding, despite his ordinary appearance. "Because power used to prevent all suffering becomes tyranny, Anakin. I've watched civilizations across 1,000 worlds. The ones that endured were those that found their own strength, made their own mistakes, learned their own lessons. The ones I or Galactus saved with external power invariably collapsed when that power was withdrawn." "But you could have stayed," Anakin argued, stepping into the dwelling uninvited. "Could have used your cosmic abilities to guide this galaxy toward peace. Instead, you ran away to play house, while people die by the millions in a war you could have ended." "Could I?" Norin's voice carried neither anger nor defensiveness, only the patience of someone who'd contemplated these questions across eons. "End your war how, exactly? By destroying all separatist forces? Then I'd be a genocidal tyrant. By forcing both sides to negotiate? Then I'd be a cosmic dictator imposing my will on trillions. By rewriting minds to eliminate conflict? Then I'd be worse than anything this galaxy has produced." "You could have found a way," Anakin insisted desperately, "with that much power." "There is no amount of power sufficient to save people from themselves," Norin interrupted firmly. "I know because I tried for centuries, Anakin. I redirected Galactus toward uninhabited worlds, thinking I was minimizing harm. But those worlds might have harbored life that would have evolved into civilizations. I prevented short-term suffering while potentially eliminating entire future histories. The calculations become impossible at cosmic scales, and the guilt becomes unbearable." Shalabal moved to stand beside her husband, her hand finding his. Norin made the right choice, the only choice that let him remain himself. "Power like that doesn't serve the wielder, Anakin. The wielder serves the power, becomes its instrument. My husband spent eons as Galactus's herald, and it nearly destroyed who he was. Surrendering that power, you saved him." "Saved him while condemning everyone else?" Anakin's anger finally exploded. "My visions show people I love dying while I stand helpless. I need power sufficient to prevent that, and you're telling me to just accept fate? Let suffering happen because intervention might have consequences." Norin's eyes filled with compassion that only made Anakin angrier. "I'm telling you that seeking power to prevent a possible future is exactly how you guarantee that future manifests. Fear leads to desperate choices. Desperate choices lead to corruption, and corruption destroys everything you meant to protect. I've witnessed this pattern across reality itself, Anakin. Please, learn from my mistakes rather than repeating them. Your mistakes aren't mine, Anakin shot back. I'm not trying to become a cosmic herald. I just want enough power to save the people I love. That's not tyranny. That's basic decency. It starts that way, Norrin said quietly. It always starts with love, with noble intentions, with the desperate need to protect someone precious. But power has its own gravity. Once you begin seeking it, once you taste what absolute capability feels like, the original purpose becomes secondary to acquiring more. I know, Anakin. I lived it. Before Anakin could respond, his comlink crackled. General Skywalker, we have incoming hostiles. Multiple separatist vessels just dropped out of hyperspace. They must have tracked our approach. Norrin's eyes widened. You led them here. Deliberately or otherwise, you've compromised our location. I was careful, Anakin began, but his tactical awareness confirmed the truth. The Separatists had been tracking Republic intelligence movements in the unknown regions. They'd followed Anakin's supposedly secret mission, hoping it would lead them to exactly this discovery. Through the dwelling's windows, they saw Separatist landing craft descending, not military assault ships, but scientific vessels accompanied by combat droids. And at their head, a familiar presence that made Norrin's newly mortal blood run cold. Darth Zarok had returned. The ancient Sith sorceress emerged from the primary landing craft. Her purple skin marked with new tattoos that pulsed with dark energy. 3 months had given her time to recover, to rebuild her forces, and to develop new approaches to binding beings who existed outside the Force. Norrin Rad, her telepathic voice crashed against all their minds like a hammer. I've searched for you across this galaxy. When Republic movements in the unknown regions spiked, I knew they'd found you. How fortunate that young Skywalker would lead me directly to my prize. I'm not your anything, Norrin called back, stepping out of his dwelling to face the threat directly. I'm no longer the Herald. I sacrificed the power cosmic to complete the dimensional shroud. I'm mortal now, ordinary. There's nothing here worth your interest. Zarok's laugh echoed across the forest. Liar. My sensors detect residual cosmic radiation permeating this entire region. Power like that doesn't simply vanish. It transforms, diminishes, but never fully disappears. You may have surrendered your connection to Galactus, but the cosmic essence that rebuilt your body at molecular level remains. And that essence can be extracted, studied, weaponized. Over my dead body, Shalabal said, stepping up beside her husband with a weapon that looked like it belonged in a museum, but hummed with energy that suggested Zenla's science was far from primitive. That can be arranged, Zarok replied coldly. She gestured and battle droids advanced while dark side energy began building around her form. I don't need you alive, Herald, just intact enough to harvest your cosmic altered cellular structure. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, blue blade humming to life. His orders had been reconnaissance, but he wouldn't stand by while the Separatists murdered anyone, not even someone whose choices he didn't understand. You'll have to go through me first, Anakin declared, Force presence blazing with barely controlled power. Gladly, Zarok purred. I've wanted to test myself against Skywalker, the Chosen One. Beating you will make claiming the Herald's essence even sweeter. The battle erupted with sudden violence. Battle droids opened fire while Zarok launched herself at Anakin with her black fire lightsaber. The young Jedi met her attack with ferocity born of frustration and fear, their blades clashing in showers of sparks, while Shalabel's weapon carved through droid chassis with surprising efficiency. But Norin just stood there, hands at his sides, watching the violence unfold around him. He felt nothing. No cosmic awareness warning him of danger, no power to reshape matter and end the threat. Just ordinary fear and the helpless recognition that he couldn't protect even himself, let alone his wife, or the conflicted Jedi fighting on their behalf. "Norin, run!" Shalabal shouted, ducking behind cover as blaster fire intensified. "Get to my ship. It has dimensional drive capabilities. You can escape." "I won't leave you," he replied, and the words carried echoes of another time, another world, when he'd refused to abandon Zenla to Galactus's hunger. "Then fight," she screamed back. "You have cosmic knowledge, dimensional understanding. Use it." And Norin realized she was right. He no longer had the power cosmic, but he still possessed knowledge accumulated across eons of cosmic travel. He understood dimensional mechanics, molecular bonding, reality's fundamental structures in ways this galaxy's greatest scientists couldn't match. Knowledge, not power. Understanding, not ability. But sometimes that was enough. He ran toward Shalabal's ship, not fleeing but seeking. Her vessel contained dimensional navigation technology built from principles he'd taught her across the void between realities. If he could access those systems, recalibrate them for localized rather than long-range dimensional manipulation. Zarok sensed his intent through the dark side. "Stop him," she commanded, redirecting battle droids toward Norin while maintaining her assault on Anakin. "He's attempting something with the ship." Anakin felt the shift in priorities. Saw droids abandoning their positions to intercept Norin. His choice crystallized instantly: protect the Herald who'd refused to help anyone, or accept that sometimes beings needed to save themselves. He chose trust. "Go," Anakin shouted, using the Force to hurl debris into the droid's path. "Whatever you're planning, do it fast." Norin reached Shalabal's ship and interfaced with its navigation systems. The technology was familiar. Zenla's science married to cosmic principles he'd shared with his wife during her search across dimensions. With hands that remembered being chrome, even though they were now flesh, he began recalibrating the dimensional drive. Not to escape, to create a localized dimensional pocket, a bubble of altered space-time that would encapsulate this entire clearing and everyone in it. Inside that pocket, physical laws would operate according to parameters he specified, and the primary parameter would be simple: no violence. Kinetic energy above certain thresholds would simply dissipate, harmlessly, inevitably. It was cosmic intervention on the smallest possible scale, affecting only this moment, this place, these specific beings. Not reshaping a galaxy but adjusting a battlefield, not imposing his will on billions but protecting dozens. Maybe this was what power looked like when wielded with wisdom rather than desperation. The dimensional pocket activated. Instantly, blaster bolts slowed to harmless velocities. Lightsaber strikes lost their cutting force. Even Zarok's dark side lightning dispersed into harmless static electricity. The violence simply stopped functioning. Everyone froze, separatist and republic alike, staring in confusion as their weapons became useless. "What is this?" Zarok demanded, her yellow eyes wide with disbelief. "This isn't the Force. It's not cosmic power either." "What have you done, Herald?" "Applied knowledge instead of power," Norrin replied, emerging from the ship. "This dimensional pocket will hold for approximately 3 hours before collapsing. More than enough time for Republic reinforcements to arrive, for you to withdraw, or for everyone to simply calm down and recognize that fighting over someone who no longer has cosmic power is pointless." He walked calmly through the frozen battlefield to stand beside Shalabal, who looked at him with pride and love that made every sacrifice worth it. "You still have power," she observed, "just a different kind." "The only kind that matters," he agreed. "The power to choose non-violence even when violence is expected." Anakin deactivated his lightsaber slowly, staring at Norrin with an expression caught between awe and deeper confusion. "You could have done this from the beginning, could have created this pocket before anyone fired a shot. Why wait?" "Because you all needed to see that violence would accomplish nothing here," Norrin explained. "If I'd prevented the fight before it began, you'd all assume I was manipulating you, controlling you, but by letting you try and fail, by demonstrating that this path leads nowhere, now you choose to stop rather than being forced to." "Manipulation through demonstration," Zarok said bitterly. "You're more dangerous as a mortal than you ever were as a herald," Norrin read. "You understand beings in ways cosmic power never taught you." "I learned from the best teacher possible," Norrin replied. "Failure, centuries of it. I'm done pretending I know how to save galaxies, Zarok, but I'm quite good at saving myself and those I love from beings who'd use us for their wars." The ancient Sith studied him for a long moment, then laughed. Genuine amusement rather than mockery. "Very well, Herald who was. Keep your mortal existence and your dimensional tricks. The knowledge in your mind would take decades to extract through torture, and I find I've lost my enthusiasm for that particular cruelty. You've earned your peace, for now." She signaled her forces to withdraw, and the separatist craft lifted off, leaving behind only Anakin, his clone contingent, and the 2 former cosmic travelers standing in the ruins of their quiet sanctuary. "This place is compromised," Anakin said quietly. "Both Republic and Separatist forces know you're here now. Others will come." "Then we'll leave," Shalabal replied simply. "Find another world, another sanctuary. We've gotten quite good at starting over, my husband and I." "You could come back to Coruscant," Anakin offered, surprising himself with the suggestion. "The Jedi could protect you, give you resources, help you hide." "No," Norrin interrupted gently. "Thank you, Anakin. But the Jedi Order would be tempted to use my knowledge for their war, just as the Republic and Separatists are. We're safer alone, relying on ourselves." "That's selfish," Anakin said, but the accusation lacked its earlier heat. "Perhaps," Norrin agreed, "or perhaps it's the most selfless choice, refusing to let my knowledge enable more sophisticated violence. Either way, it's my choice to make. Just as your choices are yours, Anakin. Choose wisely. Choose with full awareness of consequences. And when power calls to you with promises of solving all problems, remember what you witnessed here today, that sometimes the wisest choice is walking away from power entirely." Anakin wanted to argue, to insist that Norrin's philosophy was cowardice wearing wisdom's mask, but he found he couldn't. Something about the former herald's peaceful determination, his complete lack of regret despite surrendering cosmic abilities, planted a seed of doubt in Anakin's certainty. Maybe power wasn't the answer to every problem. Maybe sacrifice, when made freely and completely, created strength that cosmic abilities could never match. Or maybe that was just comforting philosophy for those too weak to seize power when it was offered. Anakin didn't know. But as he departed, as his starfighter lifted off leaving Norrin and Shalabal to begin their next journey, he carried that uncertainty with him back toward Coruscant and the war waiting there. On the forest world, now forever marked by dimensional residue from Norrin's intervention, the former herald and his wife packed what few possessions they'd accumulated. Their peace had been brief, but it had been real. And they would find it again, as many times as necessary, building simple lives in complicated galaxy. "Do you ever regret it?" Shalabal asked as they prepared Norrin's departure. "Surrendering the power cosmic? You could have kept it, ruled galaxies, reshaped reality itself to your liking." Norrin looked at his hands, flesh and blood, capable of holding tools, and his wife's hand, incapable of moving planets or transmuting matter. "Every day I rejoice in this choice," he said quietly. "Power made me Galactus's instrument. Surrender made me myself again. I'll take ordinary humanity over cosmic servitude without hesitation." They departed that world as they would depart a dozen others over the coming years, quietly, completely, leaving no trace. And each time they built something new, something small, something that cosmic entities would consider meaningless, something that meant everything. The Clone Wars ground onward, indifferent to cosmic interventions or dimensional shrouds. Battles raged across 1,000 worlds, while politicians played their games and Sith Lords orchestrated from shadows. But one threat, perhaps the greatest threat the galaxy had never known, remained absent, locked outside reality by a sacrifice few would ever understand. Galactus searched for months, his cosmic awareness sweeping across dimensional boundaries, seeking the herald who had vanished, and the life-rich galaxy his senses had briefly detected. But the dimensional shroud held perfectly, woven from the surfer's own essence, rendering the Star Wars galaxy imperceptible to external cosmic perception. Eventually, the devourer of worlds turned his attention elsewhere, toward realities where hunger could be satisfied, leaving this particular dimension safe in its invisible sanctuary. The Jedi Council debated endlessly what to do with the knowledge that cosmic entities existed beyond their reality, that the Force was merely one form of power among infinite others, and that sometimes the greatest victories came through sacrifice rather than strength. Master Yoda understood, though even he struggled to articulate the lesson. Mace Windu grew more cautious, questioning assumptions the Order had held for millennia, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, diplomatic as always, filed detailed reports that would gather dust in the archives until some future crisis made them relevant again. Anakin Skywalker returned to the war, changed in ways he couldn't articulate. The seed of doubt Norrin Rad had planted grew quietly, competing with the darker philosophies Palpatine whispered during their private conversations. In his dreams, Anakin saw two paths, one where he seized power to prevent loss, another where he accepted loss as the price of maintaining his soul. The former path glowed with certainty and led into shadow. The latter path remained murky but somehow preserved the light within him. He hadn't chosen yet, but the choice drew closer with each passing day, with each vision of Padme dying, with each moment he felt helpless before fate's inexorable march. Count Dooku reported to his master about the Herald's transformation, about cosmic power voluntarily surrendered, about knowledge that suggested realities beyond their manipulation. Darth Sidious absorbed this information with calculating interest, filing it away for potential future use. But his focus remained on the immediate goal: corrupting Skywalker, destroying the Jedi, and claiming the galaxy for the Sith. The cosmic, for all its grandeur, mattered less than the political. The dimensional, for all its mystery, proved irrelevant compared to the mundane work of conquest. Or so Sidious believed. Darth Zarok retreated to forgotten Sith temples in the unknown regions, her ancient forces rebuilding her consciousness, considering longer timelines than this current war. She had witnessed cosmic power and learned its limitations, had seen a herald choose mortality over dominance. These revelations would reshape Sith philosophy in ways that wouldn't become apparent for generations, planting seeds of doubt in the dark side's absolute certainty. Sometimes the greatest impacts came from examples rather than force. And in the deepest reaches of the unknown regions, on worlds whose names would never appear on Republic charts, Norin Rad and Shalabal built their lives. They moved frequently at first, staying ahead of those who sought to exploit his knowledge or study his cosmic-altered biology. But gradually, as the war consumed everyone's attention and the legend of the Silver Surfer faded into classified reports and Jedi archives, they found peace. Norin taught what he could to those who stumbled across their settlements, principles of dimensional mechanics disguised as philosophy, cosmic awareness translated into meditation techniques, the understanding that power served best when surrendered voluntarily. He didn't seek students and refused to build a following, but his influence rippled outward nonetheless, touching force-sensitive wanderers and refugees seeking meaning beyond the war. Shalabal used her dimensional navigation expertise to help lost travelers find their way home, to reunite families separated by conflict, to create small sanctuaries where the war couldn't reach. Her work would never be chronicled in history texts, but the lives she touched remembered. The children she saved grew into adults who valued compassion over conquest. Sometimes the greatest heroism operated at the smallest scales. Years passed. The Clone Wars reached their catastrophic conclusion. Palpatine's transformation into Emperor, Anakin's fall to become Darth Vader, the Jedi Order's near extinction, and the Republic's perversion into Empire. Through it all, the dimensional shroud held, protecting the galaxy from external cosmic threats, even as internal darkness consumed it. Norin felt each of these shifts through the residual cosmic awareness that never fully faded. He mourned the Jedi's fall, ached for Anakin's choice of the darker path, and wondered if his own intervention had somehow contributed to these tragedies. But Shalabal reminded him of what he'd learned across eons. Beings made their own choices, created their own destinies, and external saviors only delayed the inevitable reckoning. "You saved this galaxy from Galactus," she would tell him during his moments of doubt. "That was your purpose here. What they do with that salvation is their responsibility, not yours." And slowly, Norin learned to accept the wisdom his wife offered, that he could not save everyone, could not prevent all suffering or wrath, could not force beings toward enlightenment. They didn't choose themselves. He had been the herald of Galactus, instrument of cosmic necessity. Now he was simply Norin Rad, husband, refugee, and former cosmic entity learning to embrace limitations with grace. In the decades that followed, whispers circulated through the galaxy's fringes, legends of a silver being who had once possessed power to reshape reality, tales of a herald who chose mortality over dominance, stories of dimensional travelers who helped the lost find their way home. Most dismissed these as myth, the kind of folklore that emerged during desperate times when people needed to believe in something beyond their immediate suffering. But a few force-sensitive wanderers, dimensional researchers, beings who perceived reality's deeper structures, understood that something cosmic had touched this galaxy and left traces that would echo across generations. The dimensional shroud remained, invisible and perfect, a gift from a being who had learned that the greatest strength lay not in power wielded, but in power surrendered. Galactus never returned, his attention forever diverted from a galaxy that had ceased to exist in his perception. And somewhere in the unknown regions, on a world whose coordinates existed only in the most obscure Navy computer databases, an elderly man with silver-white hair sat beside his wife, watching binary stars set over crystalline mountains. His hands were gnarled with age now, his eyes dimmed by decades of mortal existence. His body subject to time's patient erosion in ways that cosmic power had once prevented. He had never been happier. "Do you think they remember?" Shalabal asked, her own hair now gray, her face lined with the beautiful erosion of a life well lived. The Jedi, the Republic, whoever inherited that galaxy's future, do they remember what you sacrificed? Norin smiled, his ordinary smile carrying depths of cosmic experience no purely mortal being could match. "They don't need to remember me," he replied. "They just need to survive what comes next. The shroud will hold for centuries, perhaps millennia. By then, this galaxy will have developed its own strengths, forged its own identity, learned its own lessons. They'll face whatever cosmic threats emerge with capabilities I can't imagine." "You have faith in them," she observed. "I have faith in life itself," he corrected gently. "It persists, adapts, overcomes. I've witnessed it across 1,000 worlds, sometimes catastrophically, often painfully, but always inevitably. This galaxy will endure long after the war consuming it now has passed into history, and they'll do it without cosmic intervention, without external saviors through their own determined choices." "That's very philosophical for an astronomer," Shalabal teased. "I had excellent teachers," Norin replied, taking her hand in his. "Galactus taught me about cosmic necessity and the price of power. The Silver Surfer taught me about servitude and sacrifice. But you, Shalabal, you taught me the most important lesson, that the greatest victories often look like surrender to those who can't perceive their true scope." They sat together in comfortable silence as the stars emerged, ordinary and magnificent, requiring no cosmic power to appreciate their beauty. Somewhere across the galaxy, wars continued. Empires rose and fell. Force users battled their eternal conflicts between light and darkness. But here, in this moment, on this forgotten world, two beings who had traversed dimensions and surrendered cosmic power simply existed together, and that was enough. The Silver Surfer's legend would fade from this galaxy's memory, becoming myth and then less than myth, barely a footnote in classified archives that would be lost when the Empire purged Jedi records. Future generations would never know how close they came to cosmic devastation, how a dimensional breach nearly drew Galactus's hunger to their reality, how one being's sacrifice had protected trillions who would never thank him because they'd never know he existed. But Norin Rad had learned long ago that the most meaningful heroism required no recognition, expected no gratitude, and asked nothing in return. except the quiet satisfaction of knowing you'd done what conscience demanded regardless of cost. He had been a herald of destruction and become a guardian of life through the simple act of walking away from power when power demanded too much of his soul. In a galaxy that increasingly valued strength over wisdom, domination over compassion, and control over freedom, his choice stood as a silent testament to different possibilities. Not everyone needed to wield cosmic power to matter. Not everyone needed to reshape galaxies to create change. Sometimes the greatest impact came from refusing to impact at all, from protecting rather than controlling, from choosing ordinary humanity over extraordinary servitude. As the binary stars completed their setting and darkness claimed the crystalline mountains, Norrin Radd, former herald of Galactus, dimensional traveler and refugee from cosmic duty, closed his eyes and slept the dreamless sleep of someone finally at peace with every choice they'd made. The dimensional shroud held firm above him, invisible guardian born from sacrifice, protecting a galaxy that would never know its savior's name. And that anonymity, that complete absence of recognition or reward, was exactly how Norrin Radd wanted it. He had saved them all by disappearing completely, and in that disappearance, he had finally discovered what cosmic power could never provide: the freedom to be simply himself, untouched by destiny, unburdened by obligation, answerable only to his own conscience and the woman who had searched 1,000 dimensions to find him. Some legends deserved to be forgotten. Some heroes earned their peace by refusing to be heroes any longer, and some galaxies survived precisely because those with power to save them chose instead to let them save themselves. The Force would continue its eternal dance between light and darkness. The wars would rage and eventually end. New conflicts would emerge from the ashes of old ones. But through it all, the dimensional shroud would hold a cosmic gift from someone who understood that the greatest protection came not from intervention, but from allowing life to find its own way forward. And somewhere in the unknown regions, growing old together in blissful obscurity, two dimensional travelers would watch it all unfold from safe distance, content to be witnesses rather than participants in the great cosmic story that was this galaxy far, far away.